Gather around, freaks. It's time once again to gather around the internet fire, the internet radio, the internet Twitch show, my phone. It's that time of the week again. It's time for. Hey, did you see this one?
In a world where society tells you to doubt your strength, question your intelligence, and dim your light, we search for voices to tell our stories. Voices to empower us,
uplift us, and keep us heard by the masses.
Oh,
I
look
wanted
at
to
that.
keep dancing.
What an intro. Oh, my voice cracked, so you know what that means. It's episode 138 of Hey, Did You See This One? Episode 138, season 2, episode 38. I guess it's the same. We are entering June, which of course means it's Feminist Masterpiece Theater Month.
Yeah.
The month where we have on two guests who are, and
Jason didn't script this, I guess.
no, I'd like to introduce our guest this week, star of stage and screen, I suppose, B. Dawley. B. Dawley, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
And hiding in the wings.
And there
What happened?
Yeah, you
Noel
got removed from the
K.
stage.
Noel
You got
K,
the-
welcome.
You got the Looney Tune
Yo.
hook for some reason. Like, ugh.
I can't with this. Yeah, hello.
Hello, it's Noel K. Welcome back to the show, Noel K.
As if they're back. It's Noel.
That's right. And this week, the first week we're covering, as you can see behind me, Clueless, the 1995 film starring Alicia Silverstone, Stacey Dash, other names that escape me right now include
Brittany
Brittany
Murphy. Yeah,
and
Paul Rudd.
and the dad
The
from everything.
ageless. The
Breckenmeyer.
absolutely ageless Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he looks older now than he.
Well, I mean, we
Isn't
can't
it?
forget the man, the myth, the legend, Wallace Shawn. Inconceivable. He's the best.
Yeah,
The best part is, I don't know if you knew this, but Wallace Shawn, before playing a teacher, was actually a teacher.
I did know this.
So he was method acting.
I didn't know that. That is interesting. How long before? Because Princess Bride must have been what, like 10 years before this movie? When was that? 1987-ish?
I mean,
I
if
have
we
a-
think that is ageless, Wallace Shawn he has
just
a
keeps
portrait in
going.
his attic that looks like garbage.
He's also like a New York legend. You can just find him walking around the streets of New York. So
He's one of those like silver statues that he's just got pigeons like all over him and stuff.
well, no.
Also, what about Twink Kaplan? What a name! What a name!
Yeah, she's an associate producer on this movie.
She's
That's
also
great.
like she plays a teacher in other things, right? This isn't the only time she's played
She's
a
in
teacher.
like 2 other movies, I think. Look Who's Talking, I think, is the other one she's in.
No, she's in the television series Bad Teacher. I assume playing.
Oh,
a teacher.
okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
That'll get you.
I mean, that came out in
Wasn't
2014.
Because Clueless also had a TV series. Wasn't she in it as well?
I think Wallace Shawn was in it too. I believe a good chunk of the cast was in the.
Yeah,
in
it was just Alicia Silverstone and oh my God, what's his name? Dan Hedaya weren't in it.
right.
Oh yeah, even Stacy. I'm looking at it now, and Stacey Dash, Donald Faison, yeah, Twink Kaplan and Wallace Shawn were in it.
I remember Donald Faison being. I actually watched quite a bit of that show when I was.
I remember watching it all
Well,
the
the whole
time.
concept was originally conceived as a TV show, and then they decided to make it into a movie.
Good call, because it's like, you know, when like a Disney movie comes out and it succeeds horribly, and then it makes like a long running cartoon show after that. This is kind of the equivalent. where
Yeah,
made-
they shelved it. They were like, no, nobody wanted it. And then somebody read it and was like, this should be a movie. So,
What was the show? The show had like a weird name. It was supposed
I
to
have
No
it written
Worries.
down.
No Worries.
Yes. And
It was
then
originally
I was
a pilot called No Worries.
I was a teenager was the second working title for it as well.
And then Tina Fey came along a decade later and was like, "I'm going to do that."
Yeah,
That's
I mean, in a
right.
different way, but yeah, they are. This is definitely kind of like the proto Mean Girls, but in this movie,
Is
The
it,
Mean
or is it a modern day retelling of Emma?
I mean, that's what is
It's
literally.
actually a modern day retelling
I
of
love
Emma.
being a teenage girl and also a horrible nerd in the 90s and early 2000s, because there was so much crossover of classical literature made into teen movies. Like we had
Right.
Clueless,
10
which
Things
was
I
based
Hate
on
About
Emma,
You.
10 Things I Hate About You, which was based on Taming of the Shrew. One of my favorite
Who's the
movies
Man?
of all time. What's that?
She's the Man. That's what it was.
What was
It's,
that one based off of?
It's based off of 12th Night.
Okay. See, my
Truth be
favorite was
told.
Get Over It with Martin Short, which was based on A Midsummer Night's Dream. But
Jeez.
Clueless is definitely up there.
It is crazy how many like Shakespearean plays have like just completely and very well suited to be told as like teenage drama. Like just like, yeah, so many of them just translate almost perfectly to what people go through in high school is what people were going through in there. I guess they would have been teenagers as well in the times of Shakespeare. Now I don't know.
Mhm.
I guess Romeo and Juliet were teenagers. Lots of
Yeah.
people are teenagers.
I think wasn't Juliet supposed to be like 13? Ugh. Shakespeare.
Look, when the average age that you make it to is 30,
That's true. It was a
you
different
hit
time.
maturity a little bit earlier.
I've been reading so much Tudor history right now. Like, we're talking War of the Roses, Plantagenets, House of Lancaster, all that. People be dying a lot.
You know what they say? A Lancaster always pays their debts.
That's the saying.
I guess do we want to go? Oh, it's Chewy. Do we want to go right into our brief histories with this?
I think that's what it is, but do we want to do a brief synopsis of the film? Because Noel reminded me that we used to do that. And now I feel like we have all this time at the beginning where I'm not just babbling on and on.
Well, I
and
mean, yeah, it's not a very complicated movie in terms of like what happens, but it's basically the story of a girl who goes from sort of a self-absorbed but smart and kind girl to a more self-aware and competent and still nice and smart young woman, I guess, at the end of the movie, in which is like she goes through a lot of relationship issues with her friends and her parents and her siblings, and finds herself along the way. And it's funny and it's charming and it's sweet and it's nice. That's my synopsis. Do we all want to do one?
And mine is
Yeah.
it's about a
from
girl.
the blah blah blah.
It's about Batgirl gets her new groove.
Yeah, Alfred isn't just sick; he's dying.
Well,
And-
like we said, it's based on Emma, which is a Jane Austen novel. The titular character, Emma Woodhouse, sets up her nanny or her like teacher. No, the person who raises her in
This
the
is
house.
Batman and Robin you're talking about, of course.
Sorry?
This is Batman and Robin you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, so she's a matchmaker, and then she meets a young lady who's a parlor boarder, and we don't know what her background is. That's the Thai character. Her name is Harriet, and she takes her under her wing and is like, nobody knows you're not a gentleman's daughter, so just like run with that because we don't know her lineage. And so she tries to set her up with this the vicar, who is Mr. Elton, and he's like, no, I can't be with her. I'm in love with you. And Emma's like, no, that sucks, and I don't want that. You have to be with her. But they have class differences. And then it turns out that Harriet is actually the daughter of a tradesman, and she falls in love with Mr. Knightley, who's married to Emma's sister. So that's the Josh character. So they're like not related. It's the same kind of like related, not related. They call each other brother and sister for like the first half of the book, though. And then they're like, we're not really brother and sister. And then they get together, and that's basically what Clueless is. So,
well, I'm glad somebody did the homework of reading Emma for this podcast.
I have only read Emma about 3 times. Like I've read Pride and Prejudice like 100 times, I think. Like I have.
I've read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're good. It's basically copy and paste with zombies. Like it's
they just
actually
add ninjas
very.
And stuff. Yeah,
it's very close to the original text.
I've read both. Well,
Mansfield
thank you for
Park
that, Noel.
sucks. I'm glad they didn't.
I've never read Emma, so I wasn't able to like. I dove into it a little bit, and I was like, I'm not going to read this whole thing. Just
the opening of Emma is basically Jen Austen saying Emma is rich, beautiful, and bored.
That's Cher.
It's a really great book, and both of the versions of the movie that they've made with Anya Taylor-Joy and I think is it Gwyneth Paltrow?
It is, yeah.
Are great.
Yeah,
so like I love all 3 versions of this movie.
The real question is,
see, I don't know if I can add to that synopsis other than Batgirl and Ant-Man are step siblings, and then Bat Chicka Wow Wow.
Right.
That's all I got.
There are other characters who are like the Breckenmeyer character is this farmer who Harriet likes, who like Emma thinks is below her status. So like they all have matching characters. The only person who doesn't have a character is Dion. Like there's no, unless I'm wrong, B. Like I really don't think there's a Dion character in Emma.
I feel like
but everyone else.
Dion in this movie was meant to be almost sort of a branch of Cher, where they wanted to explore the idea of like her losing her virginity, but without actually doing it in the movie. So they're like, how about we just have this other friend who is, is the best friend and is funny and charming as well, but we'll use them for that.
Amy Heckerling knew that she wanted her to have an African American friend. Like that was like one of the first things that she decided on that. So I watched the DVD, and I think you may have with all of the features, like the behind the scenes featurettes. So, I've got X-ray.
Oh man, this is one that I haven't seen in so long. So I was kind of tickled a little bit just to see how well it holds up as not just like an artifact, but like something that I would be happy to show my teenage kids if I had them, to be like, here, watch this movie. It's all right. It's not offensive or weird or creepy. I mean, there's some stuff that isn't great, but in the long run, in terms of 90s comedies, this one's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So did anyone else want to have a synopsis?
Jason's like, it's a girl without a clue. She's got no clue.
Which one is Clueless?
Yeah. I mean, in the end, it's her. She's
John Clueless. No, I think you guys covered it pretty good. We could probably go into our brief histories if you'd like to talk about your brief history with the films.
Sure, let's do that. I did want to say one thing. It's crazy that Mr. Wendell Hall was fooled so easily because he's a Sicilian and you can't fool a Sicilian.
A brief history.
That's right. It's time for a brief history, the point in the show where we just sort of give our history with the film. The first one is. And it is, of course, a long-standing time-honored tradition to give our guests the first opportunity to give their brief history. But we have 2 guests this week. So how do we do this? Rock, paper.
Rock, paper, scissors.
B, you go first. I'm gonna be on more of the shows, so I feel like I'm like the artist in residence right now.
Yeah. So B, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Amazing. Clueless was actually the first movie that I ever saw at a drive-in. And I was 12 when this movie came out. And that was like my big like 12th, like you can go to a drive-in now. And I had like 5 movies to choose from, and this was the one that I went with. And maybe it was a little bit too old for a 12-year-old, but I remember just being captivated by everything about it. You know, there's something to 90s teen movies, the color and the sparkle and the fun that is just very of that time, and they haven't really captured that since like I think 2002. And it's so much fun, and it's still a comfort movie, and I'll put it on in the background if I'm having a bad day, and almost always, you know, is able to boost my mood, because it's hard to be sad and, you know, watch Alicia Silverstone and Breckenmeyer just chew scenery.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the concept of I call them chicken noodle soup movies, where it's like you're not feeling 100% and you just put something on that you want to feel good. Yeah. I've got a few that we've covered on the pod before, but this is one that I could easily see be like, if I had grown up with it and have it as something that I would hold close to my heart, then I would probably, I mean, even maybe I'll reconsider it and just start throwing it on. I've got it now. So let's do it. Noel, how about you go next?
I don't remember a time that I didn't know about this movie. So I had an older sister and an older brother, and both of them like this sort of thing. I think I saw it with them. Like, I think it was on TV or something when I was really young, and most of it went over my head. And then I just kept watching it like as I got older and understood more and more and more as we went along. But like, I've always known this movie to exist, and it's always been one of like the marquee movies for me. And I think I can like formative ideas of life have come from this movie for me. So yeah. And like my other, like, this is a comfort movie. My other one is The Wedding Singer, which Mona May also styled. So like, there's just something about like these movies. But yeah, it's always been, and it always will be.
So this is the costume designer?
Yes.
Well, goddamn, they're doing the legwork in this movie. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. We'll get into it.
What was it? It was like $200,000 was her entire budget to costume the whole movie.
For this movie?
But like a character
movie.
that has
That's
to have
wild.
something different on in every scene.
Yeah, I mean, it
They
makes
definitely
sense,
nailed
but
it.
that is
She
wild.
had 60 different costume changes, I think, or something
Yeah.
crazy like that.
Yeah, I was reading
I
a
mean,
little
they
bit about it.
recycled a lot of them for Amber.
I like that little thing where you realize that she's just wearing
Are you
the
fashion? Do you prefer Fashion Victim or Ensemble Challenge?
Was that you going through my recycling bin?
was my recycling bin? Yeah.
It's such a witty movie. It holds up. There's never been a point that I've been watching it that I've like given up on it. I think it holds up every single time, and there's something new every single time for me. It's just such a rich movie.
Great.
Excellent.
Will
I
you
guess
sleeve?
Yeah, I'll go next. Well, I didn't see this at a drive-in, but I did see Batman Forever in a drive-in, which is tangentially related to this, as through Batman and Robin, Batgirls and both. Which, you know, if you live in a weird world, you could potentially see these two characters being the same character. Like, this is just Cher from Clueless, but now she's in Gotham instead
She
of.
leaves LA to go live in Gotham.
She went through a bad breakup with her stepbrother.
Well, she would have had to go from LA to England because she was supposed to have been going to school in England.
Well, that's where she got into college.
Yeah. Yes. And then, I know my Alicia Silverstone.
Okay, good. You threaded this as well. I don't actually have like a solid remembrance of seeing this for the first time, but I did have one of my good friends, his older sister, liked movies a lot, and she would babysit us a lot. So we did end up watching movies through her. So like Hocus Pocus was a big one. That's the biggest one that sticks out of my mind the most. But like the Babysitter's Club, that kind of stuff. And I want to say that it was probably one of these experiences as well, where she really wanted to watch, because it was 1995, so I was getting to the age where like I had a say in what we watched. It wasn't just
conscious online.
Like as kind of like a brainwashed little boy, I was like, I don't want to watch Clueless. This is a girl movie. Look at all the pink on the cover. But I do remember watching it and being like, this movie is hilarious.
Then you were like, what's that Christian character all about?
Oh God, Jason.
Can't wait to talk about
Jason's outing me on the podcast again.
No, that's not what I meant.
Thanks.
That's what I meant.
Are you a friend of Dorothy?
Yeah, I'm a friend of Dorothy.
That's great, because I remember this movie like brought that into like my lexicon.
Barbara Streisand ticket holding.
Yeah.
The best part
somehow none of that was like offensive, really.
I mean, it isn't. It was good. It's funny. It's like clever. It's not just saying like, oh, he's an F slur. They could have easily got like taken the easy way out and been like, oh, shocking. But no, they're like,
no,
how do we make this
Tony
clever
Curtis.
and funny? Yeah.
Like even when they outed him in the film, they treated it like it was very normal, which in 1995 it was not weird to see. Like he didn't seem like, yes, really into the Tony Curtis movies and had a great sense of style, but they didn't tend to do a lot of the negative stereotypes that were really prevalent with the gay best friend at the time.
Yeah, and he doesn't even really become the gay best friend. It's like he's just a friend, which is like,
and like they don't out him in a way that they would in some school things where like the whole school finds out. Like that's
and then he gets beaten up. Like,
well, it's almost like
when they don't tell him
I was bi.
Yeah, it's almost more realistic because
oh no.
She finds like in a regular movie, she would be the first one to find out, right? He would tell her. But it's like, no, she's finding out from her friend's boyfriend who already knows. And he's like, are you serious? You don't know? Like everybody fucking knows.
And it doesn't become a thing. They just become friends. And she's like, oh, why didn't I see that? Okay, fine. You're my friend. Like,
I also love that the father is threatened by him because he dresses like the people that he idolized from film like years earlier when he's threatened in the sense that he doesn't want his daughter to be dating this slick son of a bitch. It's like, who the hell's this young guy coming in here with his sick suit and his nice hat?
The Sammy Davis.
Yeah, that is probably my favorite line in the whole movie. It's like,
so good.
Did the death of Sammy Davis Jr. open up a spot in the Rat Pack? So my first time watching this, I don't really have a clear one, but I've seen it multiple times over my life, but it has been so long since I've revisited it that, a lot of the movies of the era that I have gone back and watched, I've always been severely disappointed by or felt kind of like let down by, being like, oh, your sensibilities aren't as great as I thought they were. Whereas this movie, I didn't feel that at all. Like I was like, oh, this movie is still good and positive. There's not really a lot of negativity going on. Even when there's bad things happening, you're still happy to see what happens next, and you're not like heartbroken for anybody really. Anyway, I don't want to drag my first time watch on forever. So Jason, why don't you take us home here?
Mine's pretty simple. This was very much one of those movies that when I was sort of coming of age, just like Matt Phelps there, I didn't have a picture of Alicia Silverstone on my mattress, but she was introduced to me at a very formative time in my life. I had a crush on her as a teen. I remember this is one of those movies, a lot like how when we talk about horror movies being on in the background at like parties and stuff. I remember in like junior high era, this would be one of those movies we'd all sit around and watch. I was in junior high. Me and my friend Jake hung out with a group of girls primarily. That's sort of how I like learned to not be a fucking ridiculous nightmare man, raised by a single mother and had primarily girls as friends in that formative time. And this was one of the movies we would watch all the time. And like Steve, I was like, that's a girl's movie at first. But then I was like, these people in this movie who I'm about to be the same age as talk like they're adults. And they mentioned that in the movie, and that's what I was like watching it. That's pretty much it. It's just kind of existed my whole life. I was 10 when it came out. I think around 12 was when I would be watching it all the time. And I would like to give a special shout out to my wife, Madison, who couldn't be on the show tonight, but she did pick this movie. It was one of the first movies we picked for the Feminist Masterpiece Theater Month. And she did have a blink and you'll miss it cameo in this episode already. We were talking near the start. I was fumbling all over my words, and she came into the room, and she did that thing where, like, if you kind of permeate the green screen bit in the background, her face appears for just a second, and then she disappeared like Homer into the bush again. So I just wanted to, feminism is the law now. So I wanted to give a shout out to her as well. She's a lovely woman. She couldn't make it to the show tonight, but we're hoping for a speedy recovery. Oh, she's fine. She is fine.
Oh, I didn't understand what you said, but yeah, okay, I get it now.
Speedy recovery.
A speedy recovery.
By something. Oh, shoot.
All right. Well, do we want to
Your
go
Xbox
into...
turned on?
I kicked something. I kicked some body butter, and it just went. You know, I dressed 90s for this. I have like a scrunchie in my hair, and I'm wearing
a Thundercats
Mighty Ducks. My 90s.
I wore
Mighty
the
Ducks
Calvin Klein.
Oh, it looks like underwear.
Yeah.
I thought you were.
It's a dress. Says who? Calvin Klein. It looks like underwear.
I thought it was a white T-shirt. I thought you were doing Mary Jane because of the red hair, but it's a good look as well. Okay, let's talk about the director of this.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit. Sound. Speed. Action!
The director of this film is a little-known director,
Amy Heckerling,
by the name of
Heckerling.
Heckerling,
sorry.
Director of other films such as wrote Look Who's Talking, directed Fast Times at Ridgemount High. Lots of Look Who's Talking content, interestingly. I'm just learning right now that there was actually a Fast Times at Ridgemount High TV show called Fast Times.
It looks like she was the master of getting movies made into TV series, which is like, pretty powerful in terms of, because like that's how you extend a property for so long that it just makes you money forever, right?
She's a teen movie icon.
Yeah, but I can also understand like the desire to take something that you're attached to and characters that you enjoy and want to extend it beyond the screen in terms of having episodic content and not just having to wait 3-4 years to be able to make a sequel to it. It's like, no, I want to have an ongoing series and I want these characters to live in this world that I've created. And it's kind of a shame that it doesn't happen more often. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I mean, I guess it's happening again with the Marvel TV series and Star Wars TV series. But
TV show spinoffs. I want a movie to be one movie, and I want us to move on to the next. Like, I hate IP.
Oh God, don't you love the Fast and the Furious movies though?
Hold on. Okay, no, the Fast and Furious.
Where's my Fast
movies,
and Furious TV show?
No, you know that I'm a
Vin head.
No.
You know that I'm a family man. It's all about family.
I'll go.
So you know my Star Wars bit where I watched everything of Star Wars and read everything of Star Wars? That's why I think I don't like IP.
Oh. You also gave me like 100-point list of like ranking orders of it all.
Yeah, I ruined it for myself.
Are we talking like pre-retcon Star Wars or everything?
Everything.
Oh, okay.
Everything.
Okay. That makes sense because now you have trust issues because everything you invested in does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm like, I don't mind about the canon and not canon. There's just like too much. There's too much, and Star Wars fans are the worst. That's what ruined it for me. That Star Wars fans are the worst, and no one knows how to have fun anymore. But I don't, for some reason, I don't like the spinoffs. I think it's because like I really liked Alicia Silverstone, so when the show didn't have her, like I didn't have fun with that. Like I didn't watch the show because I didn't want to watch. I couldn't suspend my whatever and be like, yeah, this is the main character.
What about Buffy?
That's the word.
How do you feel about Buffy being made into a TV series after the movie?
The TV series is way better than the movie.
Yeah, and I also watched the TV series before I saw the movie.
Oh, so the only thing you liked was Paul Rubens going.
I've never watched the movie.
It's worth it
Like-
just for
I don't think
that moment.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
think
hear
I've
it's
seen it all the way
fine.
through.
I hear
I
It's
think
not a
Rachel
terrible, but-
Blanchard though was a great casting choice if Alicia couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was so stupid as a kid that I thought they were the same person. I was like, yeah, it's just her again.
Face blindness.
Poor facial recognition.
Yeah, this is nothing against like the quality of the show. I'm just like a picky, stupid young kid who's like, I don't like this.
I was very much.
And now all those picky, stupid young kids have grown into adults and they all hate Star Wars. They can't
was very
accept
much-
that the thing they
They
like.
sure do.
I was very much all in on this movie, and I definitely loved the TV show because I believe they showed it on like YTV or something. Like it was on a very accessible channel, and it was on it in one of those like Friday night blocks or like primetime blocks. And I wasn't really watching sitcoms yet. Yeah, like I remember being stoked about Clueless being a TV show. It's more accessible because it was more of a family show than this movie, which is like a kind of a PG-13 thing, but it's from 95 when they could still push the envelope a bit. And I don't know if you would want to show this to kids necessarily, even though we all saw it as kids.
Yeah. I think, I don't have a lot to say about the director because I'm not too, like, I've seen Look Who's Talking, but I didn't do like a deep dive on them being like, what was the thought process behind Look Who's Talking?
These babies can talk. It's Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
She seems like a really
It's John Travolta.
cool person. She seems like a really wild character. Like just the way that she talks in interviews, like she's got this like fun accent that I can't like quite pick out, but she's like a left of center. Like her hair is like kooky and like she just seems like a kind of lady that I'd like to like have a conversation with and be like just hear her whole life story and like what makes her tick.
When I moved here from Transylvania.
It feels like she's misguided Mary Sue, essentially. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. That's yep. She wanted to update Emma, so she's from that world that B and I are like the nerdy. We read this book and then like that trajectory. I really respect that to like Jane Austen stuff, and then like what are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at. I don't know what this means, but this guy clearly gets it done in the sun.
I think that it's time for a resurgence of that again, though. In like make all of those stories, but like science fiction. I want to see this shit in space.
So maybe I do like IP. You know what? Maybe I'm just like a walking contradiction who sucks. So long as the IP was written before like 1800, we're fine.
Right.
But the thing is, it's like stuff that's in public domain. That's what makes it easy to update and adapt into these things. Like, okay, so this is in public domain. Let's just make money off of it in a different way, which is super smart. But when she was writing this, one of the neat things that was mentioned in like the docu thing that I was watching is that they wanted her to have fewer women in it. They were like, this movie has too many girls. Remove some of the girls.
That was
she's
why
like, no.
I think Fox didn't want to touch it
Right.
originally.
Yeah.
They're like, this is way too female centric. It's like
that's the point, man.
The guys won't get it.
Yeah. We need movies where boys go see it. I think that
they tried to market a movie like that to boys, and it was Jennifer's Body, and it ended up getting panned because the marketing was so bad, even though it was an incredible movie.
It's such a good.
That was almost
for Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, that was almost on this month's roster. It was very, very close, but we switched it out at the last minute. Maybe we'll do this again. Well, maybe I'll do a part 2 for FMT.
Just change all of Hey, Did You See This One to just like.
Yeah, we'll do this every month now.
You'll run out.
And
very
slowly
quickly.
me and Jason fade away, and we're not even in the show anymore. Stop. Jason. He's turning into dust like at the end of one of those Marvel movies. A ton of them now that happens.
Mr. Stock, I don't feel so good.
Oh, God. Do we want to go to the body of the episode?
I think it's time to talk about Jennifer's Body. Nope.
The body of the episode.
Main event, the podcast extraordinaire, and now went back and forth this week because normally I just sort of run it down beat by beat, but since we have 4 people and we want to not
Pause for a second, Jason. Now start talking again.
Why? What happened?
When I play when I play the sound effects, you start to talk while they're still going, and your microphone does not compete with it, and then you keep talking without breathing because you do this a lot, where you just like keep talking without taking a breath, and it like
I'm a
doesn't.
podcaster.
Yeah, you need to just stop and wait for the thing to stop playing.
My bad.
Yeah.
Right. This is, of course, the body of the episode, the main event of the podcast, the podcast extraordinaire, if you will. I can't believe I said that again perfectly. But I normally go beat by beat through the movie. But since there's 4 people on this week and I don't want to be here until 1 a.m. and do the first ever 5-hour version of the show, we're just going to sort of talk about it. However you want, just whatever comes into your mind. But if we get stuck, I did still take the notes the way I take notes.
Okay. See,
because
he writes the entire movie line for line, like while he's watching it. Like
I could just pull the script probably, but nope, it has to be me writing it down, or else it doesn't enter my brain.
Well, I guess
properly.
the first question I have for you guys is, that's next week, or no, the week after. Is there a Polly Pocket movie? Has that ever been made? Probably, right?
It's on. It's in talks.
It's going to be in the Hasbro verse. It'll be Hot Wheels versus Polly Pocket versus Mighty Max versus I don't know.
They're doing an Uno movie and a Magic 8-Ball movie. So
well, I hope they're both horror
people
films.
doing cocaine. I wanted to bring up the fact that you guys were talking about making things into movies that maybe shouldn't be. I lost my train of thought, but you guys were just talking about it a minute ago. Anyway, never mind.
Barbie.
No, I think I got trapped because I want this Polly Pocket idea. Didn't they just bring back Polly Pocket a couple of years ago? Is that an original?
No.
Or is that one of the
brand new one? Yeah.
I just happened to
Don't swallow the parts.
Yeah. Noel's actually in a toy store right now. Noel's murdered the staff and is just like playing with all the toys.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I know what I was going to say. The things that are the IPs that go into the public domain. There's been a lot of that happening recently with old kids' tales. Like what was it? Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
And now they're making a whole.
That was terrible. Oh my god.
No.
I loved it. I thought it was.
I did too.
So great.
But objectively, it was terrible.
Oh, I was aware that it was bad while I was watching it, but I fucking loved it. Every second of it. I loved that he could control bees. Like he could like wave his hands like he was telepathically connected to these bees. Oh man. And the faces and stuff are like rubbery and gross, and like I'm excited that they're making a new one. To be honest,
they're doing like a Pan and Peter Pan. And there's a couple other things that they're going to turn into an MCU.
They did too, because Mickey.
I think that's
made it to or Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie. Yeah,
I think that's like the next one. Yeah.
Probably and they're making a sequel to Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
Yes,
but the great thing about these is that they're so low budget and like they don't have to do a lot, but more and more people, younger people who are in the film industry are going to be wrangled in by it, and they're going to just be able to grab talent to work for cheap, and they're going to make these movies great, and then obviously it's going to collapse at some point and they're going to be terrible, but I'm here for it, man. I want to see James and the Giant Peach.
Sorry, my cat's tail.
Here is another good one too. I think they brought back Strawberry Shortcake within the last 5 years, or it's coming back.
Right.
Do you guys remember Strawberry Shortcake? I remember the stickers.
Yep. I had the dolls that were supposed to smell like cupcakes and just
flip them inside
weird.
out.
Yeah.
They just smell weird.
They did. Yeah. They smelled like old plastic and like stripper body spray.
Like a Victoria.
Two things that go
like when
hand
you walk
in hand.
into the store. Rainbow Bright.
Just me after a night at the rail. Like it's like, I smell like the Strawberry Shortcake dolls.
It's just pink sugar, whatever that scent is.
Yeah.
Strawberry Shortcake.
Mm-hmm.
Rainbow Bright.
Rainbow Bright is
Care Bears.
Light Bright, the movie.
Gummy Bears.
Clueless fits into that sort of universe because I think we're due for a Clueless.
Well, I mean, we've already on this show done He-Man, right? Where He-Man, the movie, he ends up getting teleported to the real world, right? And even in like
there's a new He-Man coming out as well.
A new
I
movie.
know.
Yeah.
They'll never beat the Master of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren, though.
It was good. We did it on the show. It was very
Yeah,
fun.
it was a good episode. It's a lot to talk about. It's just bad. It's horrible.
We went on,
but
for
it is a
probably
Ninja Turtles 2 sort of level movie that
we
you
went
kind
on
of
for
remember
about
from your
25 minutes
childhood.
about how poor Billy Barty had to pour barbecue sauce down that horrible mask that he was wearing. Just like he's probably drowning
The
in
thing
there.
that gets me about that one is that whoever wrote the script, I feel, had never seen any of the He-Man or She-Ra cartoons, but had seen Star Wars, understood none of it, and went, "Yo, let's make this movie.
We can do this." Yeah.
Yeah.
He also
It's like what Vanilla Ice did with Cool as Ice, where he watched, Rebel Without a Cause, understood none of the point, and went, "Yo, I want to make that movie."
Also,
it's the 90s.
Also, I think the writer of the Masters of the Universe was probably, while writing it, doing blow off of a synthesizer. Like, and he's like, "What if in the movie the whole thing is about synthesizer music?" That's
So
the
Gotta
key
get
to the
the
universe.
synthesizer back.
So anyway, back to this movie.
Just quickly, B will bring up Cool as Ice no matter
Every
what.
chance
Every
I get.
conversation
Every
I've had
chance
with
I
you ever, you're like, but Cool as Ice, right? This is a funeral.
Scene 1 of the movie. Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, like, what do you think about choosing your outfits on a computer before you put it on? Because we know that exists now, and it never works. Like, I'm ordering clothes online all the time, and then I put them on. I'm like, I feel like an idiot. This is terrible.
This is one of those.
Do not have that machine, like how we.
That's what I was gonna say.
And I love that it's like a touch screen. Like none of that
Yeah.
would have existed on that kind of monitor, on any of that. And like, how do we still not have that?
See,
It reminds
when I
me
was a
of-
kid, we had fashion plates. This was around the Clueless time, where it was literally like these imprints of different tops and bottoms and hair and stuff like that. And you just run a crayon over it. And that was about as close as you got to this program, was like running a crayon over these fashion plates and being like, oh, this skirt would look nice with these pants.
Right.
Paper dolls. Like,
Paper dolls,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Essentially,
remember
that's
paper dolls.
about 1997, 1998 is when my family finally got a computer. And once in a while, maybe like once a year, my mom would take me and my sister to the computer store, and we could pick out a computer game. And I would always get some strategy-based fantasy game that was far too complicated for me to understand. I'd play it for half a day and be like, I'm too stupid to play this. And my sister would get like the Barbie video game, where all you do is like put on lipstick and like change her clothes, and then when you're done, she gets in a car and drives away, and she's like, thanks for getting me ready. She just drives away. And I admittedly played that game way more than I played Warriors of Magic, the game that I was so excited for. I played Barbie's getting ready for a date video game over and over and over again. And that's the closest to
I just
this
watched
program.
Flying Toasters and the other After Dark programs. Like, I just love the screensavers. That's all I did on my
right, like the maze. You're like, will I ever get through this maze? Pipes coming at me. Yeah.
This future tech thing sort of reminded me of other movies that do this. I watched The Last Starfighter recently, and that sort of predicts the future in a weird way, and like in space. And when we were watching Starship Troopers, they sort of have all this weird, like these weird analog things that don't really get updated, but they still try to be like, what it'll be like in the future. Or Back to the Future 2, where they just get everything completely wrong.
For this one,
whenever they show The Simpsons in the future, it's supposed to be 40 years later, and we're pretty much 40 years from those early seasons.
I got this one as more, she's so rich, she has this technology that you haven't heard of. And also, like, the world that they're in is it's a fantasy of teenagehood, right? Like, it's not just class-based, because, like, none of this looks like what real LA and, like, real teenagers dress like and look like in the 90s. It's, like, all super inflated. So it's part of, like, the fantasy and mystery of it, that she has this, like, fun little machine. But I think in Single White Female, they have it. That movie. And then it also reminded me of Miss Congeniality, when they're putting the bathing suits on everybody in that scene of the movie. But I don't like her closet, because I want to walk-in closet, but it's still
Yeah.
really cool.
That's
like
a walk-in
the,
closet that you'll get
the rails.
decapitated if you go in there. Yeah, you're like, "Ugh, you'll lose a limb.
And like, what if you can't find anywhere? I just like that seems impractical to me.
It was a tie. It's one of those rotating tie racks, but a whole closet. Yeah, like an Inspector
Yeah, but
Gadget
everything's
closet.
automated, so it pulls out the right outfit.
Yeah,
That's true.
I would
And it's always
hate
going
to
to
be
be.
Lucy, her maid.
Yeah.
Because imagine
I
having
mean, I think
put
Lucy hates to
everything
be
on
Lucy. Yeah.
Fair.
When she screams from Dan Hidalgo.
Oh, well, she's
The
always
thing that gets-
scared of the dad. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, B.
The thing that gets me is she's so rich that she's got like this program and this like wired closet. But she's not rich enough to buy pre-cut cookies. Like the
No,
Pillsbury,
she's
She
got
had
the
to do
just
that.
cut and
takes
bake.
the log
Yeah.
of cookies and just throws the log in the oven.
But
Like,
she had to do
doesn't know.
that. She had to because she had to have something baking in the oven when he arrives.
Yes,
As part of
but
the rules.
why couldn't she buy like par baked already set up? Like she's
That's
rich.
true,
You'd
yeah.
figure she'd go to like Pillsbury is trailer trash cookies. I know.
But she
That's
doesn't know
what
that.
I was
Yeah.
raised on.
Oh man, that's funny.
It's
She
too
would,
salty
she would
for
probably be so rich that she would have an aerosol spray that would just be the smell of something baking fresh that she could spray around the lobby of her house because she has a lobby
Right.
in her house.
It's, you know what, even though she's really rich, there's a lot of this movie that's still very relatable. Like, I'm not very rich, but I still find that most of what they're doing is like very normal stuff. They're just like going to the mall, they're going to a party. She is wearing like the first suit that she's wearing is designer, like the plaid yellow, and then the Alaya dress is Alaya, but everything else that she wears in between, nothing's designer. Like, it's all very grounded. And like,
It's
you know,
just
when you think
matchy and
rich,
colorful,
you think-
dresses are affordable.
yes, and like, it's not like the Kardashians. Like, you're watching like Meet the Kardashians or whatever, and their lives just like are completely different from like what I could ever think of it being, whereas this is not like that. And I think that's what makes it charming, and you don't so much worry about the class because it's still grounded in some kind of reality. So like, you see her house and you see the oil painting of her mom who died in a freak liposuction accident. And all of these things that like she's saying, like, they're all fantasy, but like they're rich people stuff, but not really. They're just like weird fantasy stuff.
Yeah, it's not obnoxious, I guess, is like the thing where you're not kind of sickened by it. Where like at the beginning, where it's like, my house is so classic, and you're like, oh fuck you. And then like as soon as you start to get to know her, you're like, oh, all right, she doesn't know, she doesn't know any better. And she does seem like a normal kid for the most part, like you're saying. And you don't really hold it against her, whereas a lot of movies like this, you do, right? So if you take Mean Girls, for example, you start to hold the richness against the rich kids because it is, you know, it is being weaponized against everybody else. Whereas like when you look at something like Mean Girls, it's almost like you get the perspective of all of the kids around the rich kids as well as the rich kids. And if you look in the background of this movie, like everybody else is wearing like muted grays and like bleached reds, and like they're wearing gray in the background just so that the stars of the film are wearing like the brightest colors imaginable.
Very normal people in the background. And there's even that scene that they sort of do in Mean Girls that's like, these are the different groups, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
In this, that scene happens, but it's just like, those are the weird mafia kids, and those are the dudes,
Persian mafia,
and then the Persian mafia, and then those are the guys, and then they move on, and that's it. And I was
And
like,
the stoners on the hill.
Because
Right,
it's more
yeah,
they're
yeah.
just pointing out what boys you can date, because they're not
Right.
really going through the cliques. It's just like, if you can't hang out with them, you can't date them.
And
These are the
it's-
only acceptable
Yeah,
boys.
and it's almost like a cartoon, right? Where like the Persian mafia, they're all in like leather and like high pants and like chains and stuff, and they're all on their
Basically smoking
phones, but they're still
Very
talking to each
90s
other.
Euro trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this
And-
movie, the first thing you get hit with is like her not being able to drive her car, and then Dion showing up in that hat that's behind you.
That looks like a wedding cake. Yeah.
That's just like the most insane hat. And
It
then,
looks like like the box that a hat came in that she turned into a hat. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, like wedding cake, I think is exactly right. But one of my favorite like opening things is when the boy like comes up to her and like tries to like kiss her, and she like pushes him off, and then she goes, as if, like, it's just perfect.
Right.
I'm like, yes, I know what movie I'm in, and I love this because like she doesn't ever let anybody walk all over her. Like she doesn't. She's such a strong character, even though she's like flighty, and you get like a Regina George character who's a strong character, but she's like a massive bitch.
Yeah.
And then you have like a character like this that's really strong, but like gentle and just misguided in like what she wants to do. But it starts out with her not being able to pass her debate class.
So
and then she has to argue her grades, and like it's so funny
because
her dad's a litigator, so she's like, I'll just negotiate my grades up from all of the teachers, and
that's
then
one of my
teacher won't.
It's also
And
funny
the
that
best
like
part is she lies about negotiating her grades up. She just sucks up to everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
but she's also like she's using negotiation tactics and debate tactics to get her grades up, which is one of the grades that she was faltering in was debate, but she's debating with people to get her grade up, which is like, it's like, oh wait, she shouldn't. Go ahead.
It does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty. Like there's so many great one-liners, and Alicia Silverstone actually mispronounced Haitians.
Haitians, yes.
He said Haitians, and they just were like, don't tell her.
No, just leave it in, yeah.
That's one of my favorite things.
Versace.
Yeah,
Versace.
That's one of my favorite things about Cher Horowitz is they play her. Everybody perceives her to be an idiot, but we know from her inner monologue and from her having these moments of intelligence that she just kind of puts it on, and she's naive, and that's the only reason why she's perceived that way.
I don't even know if she's putting it on though. I think it's just who she
kind
is.
Of going in and out of it a little bit, but it really stuck with me and sticks with me now, even watching it again, that the dialogue between the kids a lot of times is very Shakespearean in nature. They're not just like having a conversation, but it's like when you watch something like Deadwood, where like it's very back and forth like Shakespeare, and then they'll say some like really normal sounding stuff to each other, or they'll end a sentence with a colloquialism, right? That's what I think this movie is really well written for that. Not just because it's highly quotable. I'm sure that this is one of those movies that we kind of reminisce about now before memes would have been highly quotable back around like Borat and Austin Powers and those kinds of movies. I think for early teens, this was one of those, because as I was watching it, I'm also watching old Simpsons right now, which is the same thing, where I remember more about the one-liners than I do about the plots. And as the things were happening in this film as I was watching it, it was just remembering after remembrance after remembrance.
Well, it definitely affected the vernacular of, middle school and high schoolers, because I remember maybe a few months after this movie came out, everybody started using the term Barneys to describe ugly dudes, and Baldwins to describe hot guys, and everyone was saying
Baldwins are peak hot guy 95,
and whatever,
right? Yeah.
As if fat, like it was crazy watching it and being like, oh, is this where these came from? And then I looked into it, and it's like, it isn't necessarily where they came from, but it definitely popularized it across all of North America. Like very quickly, it spread it like a virus,
Yeah, Amy Heckerling put together a slang like dictionary. So she like listened to teenagers and read a lot of stuff, and got like there's some sort of professor that she like pulled like words from, and like gave all of the kids these like slang sheets.
Right.
This
just
is what
throw a couple of these in
things.
here whenever you feel comfortable. Yeah.
And it wasn't mid, they were all rizzed up, and that's not cap.
My favorite of the slangs is the Monet, when she's referring to Amber's and Monet.
Right.
Like it's far away, it's nice, but up close it's just a total
it's a big
mess.
old mess.
Yeah. I would love to start using that again, like a blotchy mess. You get too close and it's just a bunch of dots.
I still use that to describe myself very often. Like, I'm a Monet, I look great from far away, and up close it's
a blotchy mess.
Because he's
There's
also
also-
my
there's a-
favorite painter. So.
Right.
There's a lot of art references in
Mhm.
this movie as well. Like that's not the only one. They also like bring up Botticelli, and then there's like the sculpture garden that's that her dad has, which I couldn't stop thinking about Jay-Z as soon as like he said that like art is a good investment, and I thought of that song and how he has like the Basquiat and buys up those
They're gonna say the money to buy expensive art.
and money. Oh man, I wish. But yeah, she's not like she gets a good grade in geometry. Like she
That's what I was about
shows
to
the
say,
oil
is,
painting of
yeah.
her mom.
Her mom, who, you know, even the painting, you're like, oh god, that's not a great painting, but it's like they love the mom, obviously, right? So they make it the centerpiece of their foyer, and you're like, okay, but like I was gonna bring the same thing up, where it's like she's not stupid. Like we know she's not stupid because she's getting good grades in other things, arguably far more difficult things to get good grades in. Geometry and like calculus, those are difficult things to get if you're an idiot. She's not an idiot. She is just kind of like vapid, and she is self-absorbed, and you know,
And she probably
Red
has
Ford,
undiagnosed
beautiful.
ADHD.
of 100%. Yes, yeah.
Do you know who is stupid? Ty.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ty.
Yes.
But Ty
Ty
shows up
is
as
deeply
like
stupid, but we love her.
So
Ty's a small girl or from New York. I forget. Where is she from?
I mean,
uh
they don't. I don't
don't
think they say,
remember.
do they?
Chicago?
Brittany Murphy is from New Jersey, so that's the only thing that's
Yeah, it
sticking
was
in
very
my head.
it was a very like New Jersey, New York kind of accent, but you got she's like from a small
Elton.
town.
Yeah. She also shows up
And
as like an actual 90s kid of the era, right? Like these
Yeah.
people are
Yes.
not, they're cartoon characters of rich people
And
of the
she's
era.
dressed just
She
like a
shows up
90s
like
kid.
she showed up off of another television show or movie from the 90s of this era, and she's just like, oh god, and then within weeks is transformed. Like, you know, they absorb her into their coven of
this
fashion.
movie reminds me a little bit of the Brady Bunch 90s movies. Did you guys ever watch those?
Oh, the one
Where-
with
Yeah.
Ben Stiller's wife. What's her name?
Yeah, she plays Marcia, but basically the conceit of the movie is like they're just still the Brady Bunch from the 70s, but it's the 90s now. So everybody looks like Breckin Meyer's character, and they're just like Marcia the whole time. And they're actually like, I watched them in like 2020 again during the pandemic when I was watching just like every movie, and they're funny, like they hold up because that juxtaposition is so great, because the difference between the 70s and the 90s are so vastly different, where now if you look at it, the 70s to the 90s is only 20 years, and now this movie is like 30 years ago. And that's not much has changed, right? Like,
But what I find crazy is that kids like Gen Z thinks that this is how people dressed in the 90s, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Like you said, Ty is the one that's dressed like
That's what
the
people dress
even
I mean, I
like,
definitely wanted to dress like this from the 90s, but there's
everybody
no way that I would have been able to
wanted
leave
to
my
dress
house.
like Cher. Yeah, that's
we all
exactly
dress
it.
like the skaters in my group.
But like the coolest girl, like the coolest look would have been somebody who's dressed more like Gwen Stefani, right? Like plaid pants and like a crop top and
Yeah,
some
the
culturally
Janko jeans
appropriate.
that like 5 people could fit into, or the mod robes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, mod robes.
Going to the
Gem
hardware
right here.
store and buying like those thick beaded chains to wear around your neck, and then realizing that you shouldn't wear that against your skin for too long because it starts to erode and cause a
Or
rash.
the puka shell necklace.
Right, yeah.
Oh goodness.
I had a wallet chain that was made of it was like those big loop chain, but made of plastic, and it was white, and it hung down to my like feet. And I remember I'm from Halifax. We went on our grade 9 trip to here in Toronto, and we went to the Sky Dome for a Jays game, and we were just up in the like 600s just screwing around, and it got hooked on a chair and exploded. So there was just like plastic chain loops everywhere, and I was like, not doing wallet chains anymore. But wallet chains, those
are
were
based on children's toys.
Yeah.
Really?
Also, Jason,
those
imagine
toys.
you had a metal one. You would have just ripped your entire pants off. Like the
Or I would
pants
just
go to a
be
Jays
there.
live
game
there.
with me. There's a Jays game on June 14th that I want to go to. Anyone want to go?
Well, I was fun fact. We almost went to that, but I'm going to see Eric Andre that night, so I
Oh,
kind of
well,
go.
okay.
Also, you wouldn't catch me dead at a baseball game.
I like baseball because it's boring and I can just talk. And sometimes I talk loud enough to try and entertain the people around me to see if they're laughing or getting mad.
So the whole
I'm the
reason that Cher like brings in Ty into her circle is because she has set up, like, they gave Miss Geist a makeover, and I love the shot of her. Her shoes are too big, like she's got runs in her stockings, like
Her
they
lipstick
just like
is all over
On her
everywhere.
teeth. I
Yes,
almost
she's
used
got
that
these-
shot in the intro video that we just watched. Like I almost used that for like the fast flash, and I put it in a couple of times, but it was too prominent and like kind of a little bit frightening. Whereas like I can't just throw that in there like that.
and at
It's
her
kinda
feet it's
mean.
just broken chalk because
Yeah.
she's like been writing too hard, so there's
Too
just broken
aggressively, yeah.
and I love those little details. But so she's given Miss Geist a makeover and sets her up with the debate teacher, Mr. Hall Wallace Shawn. And so she's really happy about having done that. And the whole school's grateful because their grades are better because everyone's happier. So she's like, ooh, project when she sees Ty, because now she's had this, like, she wants to do good. And like the training that she gives her, like we're going to read one non-school book every single like week. My first one is Fat or Fit, like or whichever.
I don't think it was a week. I think it was like I think she said year. I think she
No,
said
she
year.
didn't say year.
I think she said year, but
Yeah,
I
you
could have been just not
crazy.
paying attention. Sorry, go on. I just, I feel like week that's even a lot.
Sorry, but then she convinces Ty not to like date within her station.
Yeah, she wants to date outside of the
She wants to
funny
date
idiot.
Breckenmeyer.
But also,
love story is the most heartbreaking thing for me for the whole movie because they're so. I shipped them immediately. They're
in the
perfect
lineup
for each other.
where she's like, "Is that Marvin the Martian? I can
Yeah.
do Marvin."
I draw Marvin the Martian all
I
the
mean,
time.
it's pretty easy to draw, but
Yeah.
I like to draw it.
You didn't trace that.
Yeah.
And these
And
other
also,
guys.
Breckenmeyer, way cuter than the guy who played Elton. Straight up.
Oh,
Elton
yeah.
is. I was the whole time I'm going. Where do I know that dude from? I know him mostly from 6 Feet Under. In the first season, he plays the girl's druggy boyfriend who,
Right.
spoilers, runs away after killing somebody and then dies off screen. And
It's
the
also
whole
the
time,
same character from this movie, so you know Elton is bad news.
yeah, he's got one of those asshole faces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's coded like, he's like wrong because he's also like really touchy-feely of Cher the whole time, and she
Kisses
doesn't
her
seem to
multiple
mind
times.
it. Yeah, like he's touching her constantly. And in the book, in Emma, like Elton is a dick. Like he's the parish priest or whatever. But he's like not a nice dude. And the farmer, who like the Breckenmeyer character, is like this really down to earth, sweet guy. Like, so they like just put those characters into this, and they found like the perfect teenage versions of them.
I will
which
say
I think
though
is so
that
cool.
Brecken's behavior is disgusting as well. I mean, like
When he
Elton,
spits out the thing. And
yeah, like come on, man, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, but he's still charming.
Yes,
I guess
they bonded over Marvin the Martian. Come on,
that's
Yeah.
true.
The
His
funny
name,
Also,
his
I must
name
say,
is Travis Birkenstock. I just want to
Yeah.
point that
we all
out.
know Mr. Birkenstock. Yeah, it was the fun when he's like, "Mr. Birkenstock, get to your seat," or whatever. Like, okay, this is great. But like, I have had that exact interaction before with like, I was an art boy in high school, and I had a crush on an art girl in high school, and these are the interactions that I would have, being like, "Oh wow, you drew that? Oh, I drew that." I wouldn't say, "Did you trace that?" Because that's rude to say to someone.
no, he said you didn't trace that.
I
As in, like, that's a high
know.
compliment of like, wow, that
It-
could be traced because it's so good.
But we both knew that about drawing, so I was like, I can't. If you were to say that, it would be considered rude in the community of people who draw.
Look, it's Cher and
Oh my god, you're gonna run me over with that? Yeah.
Property damage.
But like, I found those interactions very cute. But when like he was at the party and he like jumps into people and he's doing these sort of like meat-headed things where I'm like, I can understand Cher also being like, stay away from him. He's an idiot. Like he's an absolute idiot. He's also very sweet and nice and charming, like you said. But
He's
just
a
doesn't.
teenage boy, and he's acting like a teenage
Listen, we were all
boy
teenage boys at
trying-
one point.
He's nicer than Elton.
Yeah.
And he's some of the cutest, like when he tries to commit suicide and Wallace Shawn like falls when he gets the report card and he tries to jump out the window. It's like, can you like all suicide attempts, can they wait till next period? Or when he gets like the most tardies and he's like, I would like to thank my parents for never giving me a ride to school and the bus
And
drivers.
McDonald's.
Like his speeches, his lines are some of my favorites. He's also that Spicoli character, the Sean Penn character from Fast Times.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know, I was reading on
Bill and Ted as well,
casting and who auditioned, who they chose, who they were going to cast. And what I found really interesting is the other person up for this role was Seth Green.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see that.
Who would have been perfect. And then
They're
they
also
ended
like
up
best.
working together in several things.
Yeah, they're like best friends in real life. Those two.
Yeah.
Those two little short weirdos.
They were in Josie and the Pussycats together.
Breckenmeyer just put in work on
a great movie.
Robot Chicken. He was basically just on Robot Chicken for like 10 years. Breckenmeyer, I just want to point out that even in this movie in 95, he looked like he was 30. So by the late 90s, when he was in Road Trip, and then on to other movies from around that era.
I don't think he looked like he was 30 in this movie. I thought he looked the most youthful out of most of the
Probably
boys.
the most youthful he ever has looked.
I think Brittany Murphy was the youngest, like the actual youngest actress. She was like 16.
Like actually 16 or 15.
I believe so. This was the first thing.
But also,
ever done.
Breckenmeyer today looks like he's young still. He still has a youthful appearance. Like he wasn't he in the Garfield movies? Am I making that up, or was he in another one of those? He was in one of the movies where he interacted with an animated creature.
Cat?
I'm sure of it. Yeah,
he was an animated cat.
He played an animated cat. I swear he was in the Garfield movies with.
I don't think he
Bill
was
Murray.
John. What? Yeah, he was. He was John in Garfield.
Yeah, and he looked like he was in his early 20s in that movie, but you know he was actually approaching 40 or whatever. So
I'm with B. I think he's much more charming than he is like goonish. Like I've had the goon meathead, and that's just slightly different. Like,
I just mean like he has specific behaviors that if you were to only see that at a party and not have any other interaction with him, you'd be like, ugh, no way. I don't want to hang out with this guy. He's like the guy who shows up to a party. And he's like, I got to put on classic rock and starts changing the music. And you're like, dude,
that's Elton.
He brings his guitar and says, anywhere, here's Wonderwall.
Okay. That's Elton. He's
maybe
like
you're right.
that
Yeah,
Cranberry song. He would be the one with that. Like, that's not Breckenmeyer's character. Like, remember when he's weirdly humming it and like, I gotta get my Cranberry CD.
Oh,
like,
right. When he in the car, when like she's trying to talk to him, he's like just singing the song instead of actually listening to her. Yeah. Well, also Elton is a piece of shit. I'm not saying Elton is good at all. Elton is bad. He's bad.
Why are you saying that Elton is good?
I'm not. He's bad.
Elton would be played by
terrible.
Jacob. Elton would be played by Jacob Elordi if this movie was remade now.
Yes.
If Elton had to be in a movie where he if Elton had to play in a movie where he starred across an animated creature, it would be the Smurfs, and it would be that guy who's trying to kill the Smurfs. You know that guy?
Gargamel?
Yeah, that guy.
Gargamel. That's the name of my Roomba. We named our Roomba Gargamel.
That's the noise I make in the
for
morning
Roomba.
when I'm in the shower and I'm trying to get everything out.
See, Elton gives me if Axe body spray made people vibes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's
But it's called
one of the
Nice
greatest
Guy.
things I've heard.
Axe body spray, Nice Guy.
Oh my god. Yeah, he sucks.
Elton
It's
sucks.
like this whole back to the casting. This whole movie was cast around Alicia Silverstone. Like she's incredible in this movie. Like she's the perfect person
Wasn't
for this.
she
Like I can't.
also-
She was a relative unknown when she was
She was
cast.
in the Aerosmith.
That's how she was found, was the Aerosmith video. And then I think
it turns out she was a
Poison Ivy.
competent actor.
With Liv Tyler.
Wasn't also Michelle Gellar, Sarah Michelle Gellar, supposed to play this role? I
Yeah. Carrie Russell, Angelina Jolie, Alicia
That would have been
Witt.
such a different movie.
They
I can't
remade this
imagine.
movie. It's called
Reese
Girl
Witherspoon.
Interrupted.
And Reese Witherspoon.
Okay.
Interesting.
I can see Reese Witherspoon, but like there's something like cheeky and naive about the way that Alicia Silverstone just kind of is.
And there's
that,
something like pointy and mean about some of the other characters where they're almost too aware of it. Whereas like she has, it's rude to say, but she has like a vapidness that is naturally there, that is always there in her performances, where she has this like look of like, she can look at you like she's like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking to me about right now.
Yes.
She looks like an ingenue,
right,
which is perfect because Cher is an ingenue. But I mean, I don't blame the casting director, because I watched that Aerosmith video and I would have cast both Liv Tyler and Alicia Silverstone in literally anything.
Literally everything.
That was one of my bisexual awakenings. Oh my god.
Imagine Alicia Silverstone was in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That would have been cool.
Oh my god, as Galadriel?
Yeah, imagine.
No, as Liv Tyler's role. What's her name? Arwen, yeah.
Well, they sort of did the thing with Reese Witherspoon and made Legally Blonde, and my extremely funny joke from before, Girl Interrupted, is like the antithesis of this movie with Angelina Jolie.
Winona Ryder's in that one, right?
Yeah, Winona Ryder goes, and Brittany Murphy's in that, and the lady from The Handmaid's Tale has a burnt face. It's very tragic.
Yes,
that I saw in theaters
woman.
like shortly after this movie, like. That
it's
movie
based
came
on a
out
book,
like
right?
98 or 99. Yeah, I believe so.
It's based on, I think, a memoir, actually.
Yeah, like based on a real thing that happened. And that movie is actually very good, and it holds up. I rewatched it a few years ago, and it's very dark and very messed up. And go watch it. Go see it.
All right.
How else is it disturbing?
I'd like to very quickly. We don't have to talk about this for very long, but I'm a music person, and I'm very much of the 90s. And the soundtrack for this movie, I made a note here that I wanted to point out that the punk version of Kids in America, Fashion, by I think David Bowie. No,
David Bowie. Yes.
Right, and then I'm Just a Girl. I'll play by No Doubt. I'll play within like 5 minutes at the beginning, right at the beginning.
It's like the first 30 seconds of the movie. You're just like bang, bang, bang into these songs.
And then on the VHS, which I owned, after the movie, they had a Supergrass music video.
And
that's perfect, honestly.
The concert is the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
It's the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Who, if you're watching it, the lead singer thinks he's in a music video and looks at the camera and then looks away like, oh shit, I'm in a movie. I'm not supposed to look at the camera, which I thought was fun. But we also get Counting Crows. We get Cranberries,
Coolio.
Of course. Yeah, Coolio.
Is it Celine Dion, that All By Myself song?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Celine Dion.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were about to sing a song.
It's actually Eric Cartman. Eric Carmen. Sorry, but yes, this it's Celine Dion in this, but Eric Carmen, I believe, is the original.
But it's not the original Kids in America.
Right.
Like
no, it's the punk version from 91.
Mm-hmm. But so Paramount was the one who picked up like this movie, and they had MTV, so they had like cross promotional stuff on MTV as well for this. There's like these little clips of Alicia and Paul Rudd like doing these promos on MTV. So like having this generation is so keyed into their music that do you remember Daria and how like amazing that soundtrack was? And now you can't get like the DVDs of Daria have like fake music over them because they can't get the rights, like the licensing to all of that, because it was an MTV production. But like that's such a generational thing. Like I don't think kids today.
Half of the Beavis and Butthead was just them watching music videos and making comments.
And do you know what's funny? They brought back Beavis and Butthead. There's a new season that came out after the Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe movie on Paramount. And they don't just watch music videos now. They watch fucking memes. They watch like YouTube videos. And it's actually It's great though. It's exactly what you expect if you were a
Is
fan.
it just old videos of me and you watching?
Yeah, it's
music
basically
videos,
me and you watching like vines. That was Beavis and Butthead for New
and
Gen.
you going ho ho, and me going.
And you're
Oh, that was really good. The obelisk, the phone with the Spake Zarathustra playing.
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Come on, the Spake Zarathustra, guys.
Sorry, I didn't know.
That's
I was like, give me more. I don't know what you mean. I'm not like a huge music person, so I can't speak to this, but I do know that like there are so many musical. What?
Sorry, okay, what we're laughing at is World Mind says I'm captain of the Pismo Beach disaster
No,
relief.
damn it.
Which
With that mustache, I would believe it.
Yeah. He's strapping on the skis and I'm gonna save some lost pelicans. And he's like goes down a hill of sand. Do you know fuck, I had a thought that I was gonna say and I can't remember what it is now.
It happens to the best of us.
It happens to the best of us. Okay, so
and the worst of us.
the music stuff, like there are so many musical cuts in this movie, but they're all appropriate. And I've talked about this on the show before, where there's like inappropriate music cuts, and sometimes it gets gratuitous and bad, and it makes me start to not enjoy the movie. But the music editing in this is just as good as the costume design, I'd say, because there's not a moment where I'm upset with it being like. This is another thing that happens a lot now with modern movies is they completely craft a whole scene around a sound or a soundtrack, and they don't think about how it's going to play into the next soundtrack that they're playing. So like, I don't know, have you ever seen the Watchmen movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Zack Snyder one?
The Zack Snyder one. The only one that exists as far as I'm
concerned. This man needs to get his Leonard Cohen heart.
Well, it's just like
Zack Snyder is just soft boy Michael Bay.
I really
But I mean, even Michael Bay is like softer boy Ridley Scott, where it's like he wants to do something, but he really structures it too hard around the explosions, and then Zack Snyder structures it too hard around the music that he listened to. Wow,
grit.
Zack Snyder is very much the like little dorky goth nerd from high school that writes you really, really bad poetry, but you don't want to hurt his feelings, and he's really earnest about it. So you just kind of pat him on the head, and you're like, "Good job, buddy."
And he's kind of handsome.
I released that Snyder cut.
Yeah, maybe work on this for 4 to 5 more hours, and I'll give you $200,000 more to license a song.
Snyder. But yes, the music
I do too, and not just because I'm pretty sure he pissed off Alan Moore so much with that version of Watchmen that bad things happened, because
he
Alan
also
Moore
wants
is a
to
wizard.
Yeah, he also wants to make a movie of the
on like a crystal. He's like,
his top hat.
Yeah,
I've written an essay about this.
Oh, God. Okay.
He also wants to adapt The Fountainhead, which is like the absolute last thing.
We don't need Ayn Rand adapted. We don't need Ayn Rand in the first place.
No, by Zack Snyder of all people. Like
he just wants to make a statue, like a hot man statue.
Like, let me take this insufferable thing and make it more insufferable.
Yeah.
Because that
music.
He'd have like 100 pages of the John Galt monologue without cuts. Like, I mean, we'd all have to sit through that.
I think that like
the world doesn't need that.
I hate shitting on people's creativity because it's it's hard.
But Zack Snyder's not a creative person.
Well, there you go. I think this is the forum that we're on.
Your mom's name is Martha.
FMT
My
month,
mom's name is Martha.
He loves muscle men and nothing else, and he doesn't know how to ever build a female character in any movie he's ever made. I've never thought that any of his characters have even remotely resembled a real person.
Sucker Punch was a 90-minute long rape fantasy.
Okay.
Yep.
So this movie
wasn't
not.
Yeah.
So I'm dancing over Stacey
Remember
Dash.
the part when they watch the Mentos commercial, but they don't show it?
Yes.
Really?
No, but good. That jingle, like, it's just...
Oh, I thought someone else was going to go for verse 2.
Fresh goes better with love. Fresh will
That's the
get
blood of
life.
life, cause Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you, staying fresh and cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life, fresh goes better.
Of course, the men have hijacked the
Okay, yeah,
Women's
sorry.
Month podcast with our dumb.
But she even does like the with Mentos fresh and full of life. Do do
She's
do.
got a lovely
Mentos.
voice.
Fresh maker.
The fresh maker.
She says it.
She does.
She
Okay.
does. The product
Now
placement
I'm embarrassed.
is
Oh, a Snickers.
yeah, the Coke, Snackwells, like a variety of just like teen
do
diet
think-
culture stuff.
I think that yes, it is kind of like it's piss poor, but it's also like it was reality, right? Like this is for years and years and years, and even up until now, people will look at
I
a
will
Snickers
say-
bar and be like, "Oh God, I really want that, but I can't eat it because my Nintendo DS had a commercial for my Pokemon game that said I shouldn't because I'm fat because I'm
I
playing."
will say though, when she's cutting it up into small pieces and eating slow, that is a good way to like not overeat. That's something that I utilize if I feel like I've put a bit of
That's
weight
not
on.
what she says. She
You
says
cut
it's
up your
because
Snickers.
you're doing weight loss by
Oh,
cutting.
I missed that. That went over my head. I was like, yeah, eat slow. Nope, I'm an idiot. Dumb person here.
Sponsored
Sponsored
by
by
Mentos.
Mentos.
Yeah.
No,
Doo-doo-doo.
No free
Sponsor.
spawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag not sponsor.
But I mean, we need to free Spawn from hell. He's been down there for a long time.
No, we don't need to think about Spawn.
Oh yeah, totally
Even though I
Frodo.
have so many Todd
Frodo Zack
McFarlane
Snyder.
toys just to my right here.
I mean, as long as we like John Leguizamo down there, then I'm fine.
That's true. He's all right.
Stacey
he's all right
Dash
to
is a
stay down
terrible person.
Stacey Dash
Please.
is an alt-right conservative weirdo. I'll say it.
Is she?
Transphobic.
Yeah,
Yes.
transphobic.
Yeah.
She's a talking head on like Fox News kind of person. It sucks.
I had no idea. That is so
had a
disappointing.
massive
She voted
crush
for
on her
Trump.
as well growing up. Yeah, and to find out all the stuff about her.
Transphobia is so 5 years ago, guys. I can't believe that people would still be transphobic in the year of our Lord 2024. As if.
As
not
if.
that. A total
That's
Betty.
not very Brando.
She was like 26 during the filming,
Baldwin.
whereas like Brittany Murphy was 16, which is
Mhm.
reminds me of how much older Regina George. What's her name? Oh my God, she went to the same school that I did.
I also want to
Help me
point
out.
something.
She's 10 years older than Lindsay Lohan.
I want to point
Right.
something funny about Elton's character in this movie. He's playing like 17, and then on 10 years later, on 6 Feet Under, he's playing the same age somehow.
Yeah.
Is
How
Luke
does that-
Perry
There was
dead?
a lot of that in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
look at what was it, Bianca Lawson, who played one of the Slayers on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Faith?
She is perpetual. No, the early one. The
Oh.
She was
this
killed
is
by
gonna bug me
Drusilla.
forever.
Instead of looking it up,
But
on the
yes,
internet, let's do dead air.
90210 is the same. Like
Yeah.
older playing.
everybody was
younger.
in their 30s.
Yeah. Luke
There's-
Perry had like 14 head wrinkles and he was still like, I'm 18 over here.
They
Yeah,
do,
they name
make
dropped
a
him,
Simpsons joke
so
about that.
R.I.P. Luke Perry. One of the things I like about this, when they're all talking about losing their virginity, the way that Cher just like has no shame about the fact that she's still a virgin and is very like, I'm so, you know how picky I am about my shoes and those only go on my feet. Like I think a shittier teen movie wouldn't have had her so confident and comfortable like that. And there's a lot
be
of other
embarrassed,
stuff
too.
that like it's just so different when it's a woman writer, like that she openly talks about her period in class without any shame. It's just like, I want to get rid of one of these tardies. So like, but Mr. Hall, I was riding the Crimson Wave. Like I had to haul
Right.
ass to the ladies.
That was the note I made. It's a funny way. Who is she saving? I know it's
The
kind
Crimson
of
Wave.
a
is so
joke, but
good.
who was she saving herself for? What was the
Luke
celebrity?
Perry.
It was
Special
Luke
boy.
Perry.
Yeah.
But she also loves
she also
Mel
say she-
Gibson.
And she married Christian Slater. No, that's.
She just wants to
Sarah.
go to a Christian Slater movie as far as I can remember. They're like, let's go see the latest Christian Slater. Woo! and then they all hug about going to see.
No,
a
Mary
movie.
Christian Slater and Die was from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie.
There we go.
Um,
Christian Slater was very hot at the time, and I mean,
he was.
Yeah.
he
very
still
hot at the
kind of
time.
is pretty hot. You know what I mean? That's my Christian Slater impression.
Pretty good.
And I mean,
Not
the
bad.
synonym for a hot man in this movie was a Baldwin.
A Baldwin. That's what I
Which
said
means
earlier.
something so
Time.
different now.
Listen,
Did you guys see the
Unproblematic
the
men,
Edge?
the Baldwins.
this movie came out a year
Yeah.
after The Edge, and The Edge, Alec Baldwin in that movie, hot as hell. He's like
And
the
he's the
hottest
same
he's
age
ever
as I
been.
am
Alec
now
Baldwin
in that movie.
Beetlejuice, so attractive.
I know,
Yeah.
but he's too twinky in that movie. When you get him in The Edge, he's like a
He's
what
like,
is it,
hey,
like
I'm
a
gonna
man meat
fucking
on him.
fight a bear, or we'll let
Listen, we
Anthony
already
Hopkins
did this,
fight
Jason.
a
We
bear.
did this for a whole
Sorry.
episode. We talked about how hot he was in that movie.
It's true. He's very hot in that movie. He's
Allegedly.
an
So, yeah.
asshole.
So I like that. I think, again, in the hands of a male writer, in the hands of a male director, I don't think that you have those moments that Cher has. And even when one of them does lose their virginity, like, it's not like, it's just not played the same way. It's not like a joke. It's not for laughs. It's just like a natural progression. Like, this is
Yeah.
what teenagers would do, right? Like, this is the age at which they're sort of passing from one to the other.
Yeah. But you're also experiencing things within your own groups that, you know, you're not necessarily going to have the same experience, but you can share those experiences, and it does impact your perspective of one another, sometimes drastically and sometimes negatively. You know, if somebody does it too quickly, it's like, oh, you think differently of them, and then, you know, it spreads like wildfire and everybody thinks differently of that person. It's like a really horrible time for a lot of people, right? Like,
Yeah.
I remember feeling immense pressure at this time as a boy to like do stuff, and I was like, I don't want to though. Like, I'm scared. Like, I'm too scared.
So,
But then I also remember seeing some of my best friends like doing it, and then having the opposite thing happen, where it's like, oh yeah, well you're disgusting now, and now nobody wants to associate with you anymore, and that like that
Scarlet letter.
equally is terrible. Yeah, it's
Easy
horrible.
A.
So I was listening to a podcast like a while back, and they were talking about Clueless, and they said that this specific scene that like being a virgin, that she's almost talking about it like it's cool, and that like no teenager would think that, like every teenager wants to lose their virginity. And both these girls are from LA, and I'm wondering if that's like just an LA thing, because that was not my experience in high school.
I mean,
at
it's a
all.
tropical climate. They're all in heat all the time.
Yeah,
Just
remember Encino
bad
Man?
joke. Sorry.
He's scoping
So-
your cones. The whistle.
So
Your
my
thoughts?
experience in high school wasn't like that at all.
Mhm.
Like, we were more interested in being like academic and watching the BBC Pride and Prejudice and having tea parties
Jesus.
and like
What kind
being
of nerd
smart.
school did you go to? I'm just kidding.
I was in an immersion French program with basically only girls, and like it was a utopia. So for
Right.
us, like, it wasn't like, if you were a virgin, like that wasn't a big deal. Like, this is not the main part of our lives. So like, we talked about boys and boyfriends, but like no one had a boyfriend. It just wasn't a thing. And like all of these, like 2 of them are married now. I'm married. 2 of them have kids, but like the majority of them are just like these fiercely independent young women. So like, when I see that and Cher, like that reflects more of what like my high school was like, not what those other like frat boy type movies, high school's versions are.
Yeah, where they're
right?
doing like panty raids or whatever, and like, we're gonna have a fart contest tonight, and whoever wins gets to bang Hootie McBoobity over here.
That's like the 80s like version of that.
Yeah, well, I
film.
mean, but like through the 90s, like, so one of the things that I was thinking about while watching this is like, I would still show this to, you know, a young person. You know, if I had like a niece or a nephew or, you know, a child of my own, I would be completely fine showing them this movie. But like, I'm not going to show them American Pie, which is like, would be in a lot of people's minds, they would equate these to the same level of movie, where it's
Right,
like,
yeah.
it's a dumb comedy for teenagers. This is not a dumb comedy for teenagers.
This isn't
is
raunchy.
This is
This
a
isn't
smart.
raunch.
This is a smart comedy for teenagers, whereas American Pie has smart ideas inside of it.
That was
but
one
it's
of the
also-
problems.
The
that-
entire premise of American Pie is sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the premise of
It's
Clueless
even in
at
the
all.
title.
The entire plot of American Pie is everybody needs to have sex. Like that's
The title of the
we
movie
don't
is
lose our
Vagina.
virginities by graduation. We're all going to turn into zombies.
I
Which
think
is
that-
actually a good idea for a movie.
Jason, get on it. Start writing.
Isn't that
Yeah.
what It Follows is? Anyway.
Well,
you're not wrong.
Yeah. STD demons. That's what the D stands for.
ST demons. There
Sexually
we go.
transmitted demon. Yeah.
Demons. Yeah.
Also Jennifer's body.
Yeah, I was,
yeah.
just
But that's also
comes
kind of like a
around.
succubus tale. That's kind of a succubus tale as well.
you're kind of a succubus tale.
Hey, this friggin' Dawley sucking it up.
Okay.
Let it come. Sorry.
So nearing like the middle part of nearing the end of the movie, like she's basically like Ty, she's turned into a version of herself, right? Like she's kind of eclipsing her in popularity, even though she's like nothing much has changed about her except now she has like an attitude and like dresses a little bit better. But like this is more of a Regina George character. Like she doesn't have any of the like the charm and the naivety and niceness that Cher does. So like she's kind of a horrible character is what she's created. And Cher finds herself completely like out of favor and realizes that she wants to better herself, right? Which was what she was doing to begin with. Like she wanted to help other people and be better. And then her idea of what that means just shifts, and she helps Miss Guys with the Pismo Beach disaster relief and tries to help her dad, like wants to help him with his depositions and whatnot, and just wants to like explore and grow as a person. And I thought that sort of trajectory was really, really cute. Like when she's sitting on the couch beside Josh and she doesn't know how to act around him, and she's watching the news and he's like, why do you look so confused? And she's like, I thought they declared peace in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And
he's
it's
got
just like,
Cheeto fingers and she's got Cheeto brain. Like, what the fuck? What's happening here?
but it's just so sweet. And in that is the relationship with her father is really, really sweet. Like he's very supportive of her. Like he's a scary dude. Like he was cast because they wanted to find someone that looked like he would be in Goodfellas. Like they wanted a scary, scary man.
Yeah. Like they considered Harvey Keitel for the role.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
That would have worked so well. I would have liked.
I mean,
that too.
It worked out well as it is, but Harvey Keitel maybe would be like too scary. Like we would be assuming that there were bodies buried underneath the statues in the backyard, being like, I don't know. Well, we'll put them in a cement block and then we'll buy some kind of expensive piece of art and put it on top.
Well, what he says to Christian, I've got like a 45 and a shovel or something.
I doubt anyone would miss
I doubt anybody would miss you.
But even when
That's
he's calling,
because my dad used to use that line.
That's
your dad watched Clueless one day and he's like, I'm gonna
he
write
used it
down
before Clueless.
So they took it from him.
Wait,
is this your
just
life?
like a dad line.
Is this movie a memoir of yours?
Oh God, no! I'm far too trailer trash for anything like that.
Oh goodness. But even when he's like, Cher, come in here, and she's like, yes, daddy. Like just the way that she.
But also like that moment, she's pacing outside of his office.
Yeah.
And like he notices, but he's like, how do I get her in here without it being like, come in here, sweetheart? He's like, what the fuck are you doing pacing around outside my office? It's like he doesn't really know how to be a nice dad without being mean first and then being kind of like sweet. He is sweet. He's sweet at his core, you know?
He is sweet, and like she never is afraid of him. She like takes care of him, makes sure that his diet is okay. And this is lifted from Emma as well, where Emma Woodhouse, like the mom died and the sister is married to the Josh character's brother. So it's just her and her dad alone in the house. And actually the Josh character moves into their house, which is like, find yourself a man who will like let go of his amazing, beautiful Donald Abbey like property and move in so that you don't have to leave your dad. Like it's just like the cutest thing. Like it's my favorite ending. Spoiler alert for a book that was written in the Regency. So him like moving into that house, like Josh moving into the house is like
a big deal. Yeah,
exactly. So like they're really close, and like Mr. Woodhouse like like Emma's dad is like a sweet, eccentric, weird character, and so they like put that over top of this like Beverly Hills like mean litigator, and I just really like that. And I love the lines how he's supportive. He's like, I want you to have direction, and then like wants her to do things with her life, and then is like, I couldn't be prouder of you if these were based on real grades, when like she argued her grades up.
Yeah.
And then she feels comfortable enough to talk to him about like that she likes a boy and the boy doesn't like her. And he's like, well, the boy's an idiot. Like whoever wouldn't like you. And then they have this really like sweet moment. And you don't often see that. Like the dad's not a huge character, and she has like princess syndrome where she doesn't have a mom. And so, but like you don't have a King Triton, right? Like you have a really supportive dad who like they have this like cute relationship. And so that was sweet.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the dad a lot, but I mean, you did do a very good job there. So I don't know if I have much else to add. Like most of his lines are great, but like also just him as a character being sort of the monstrous sweetheart is like I love that in any movie. So when somebody doesn't know how to talk to their kids, so they have to yell first, and then they can let it down and move it in. I also really liked that like. So I didn't know a lot about Emma until you've given me quite a bit of information where I'm like, oh, this all makes so much more sense now. But like him having this sort of like, who knows how many other stepchildren he has, right? Like the mom has 5 husbands. Maybe he has like 5 other wives as well. And like this,
and he's an LA lawyer. Like.
Exactly. This is the one step.
Essentially, they're all Bluebeard.
Right, but this is the one stepchild that he likes, and he wants to keep bringing back, right? Like in the line where he's like, you divorce wives, you don't divorce children, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, so he likes this guy, and why? And then you see he's like, he wants him as a protege, and he's like, he wants to be a lawyer just like I'm a lawyer, so I'm gonna let him work on these cases with me, and he does a really good job. And like, you know, you start to warm
environmental law. Why? Do you want a miserable life?
Exactly. But it like makes you like the dad more without really having to do a lot of legwork to like have him on screen to make you like him. You're just liking him off screen. Even the moment where like I don't know, some other lawyer lackey is there and he's like, what are you, a fucking idiot? And like he leaves and he's like, I'm taking the day off tomorrow. You understand that the dad is such a hard ass that he probably would fire that guy.
He's totally fired. He yelled at Cher. You think that Josh isn't gonna like, he was like, he's done. He was done.
You'd think that guy would be smart enough to not do that, but maybe he's just an idiot. Who knows? Or maybe he's also a rich kid, you know, like he lives in this world where
he's Elton. He's
he's an Elton, yeah. What are you, stupid? Yeah. She's not stupid.
She's a moron. Don't talk about her like that.
So one of the things that's actually like that I wanted to talk about is how Josh negs Cher for the entire first half of the movie, and that is what happens in Emma. Mr. Knightley does nag Emma and like finds her to be kind of vapid, and is just like doesn't like the relationship that she's got with basically a 1-for-1 there of like this relationship with Ty is ridiculous. Like you can't be doing that. In Emma, he's like, don't separate her from the Breckenmeyer character. And Emma, like,
is
that's
Emma's
stupid.
character in that story like a kind of like a debutante? I'm not super familiar. Like,
she's just
she similar to Cher? Like,
she's a rich girl. Like, sorry, go ahead.
She's a rich girl.
Rich girl who...
Sorry, I was.
Don't talk over women.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go on.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
We good?
She's a rich girl. And she's
get it out of your system. Go on.
It's good. I'm good.
Okay. No, Emma's just a.
Oh my god, no! I'm leaving. You guys let her talk, all right?
No, I'm done now.
No, she's not a debutante.
Yeah.
She's a rich girl.
Dawley, please take it over. I was just. When people say things that sound like a song, I have to sing it. It's part of my ADHD and my autism. It wasn't me trying to be rude.
I was doing a bit.
Jason doesn't have either of those.
Yeah,
so
you
he
do
was
that.
just being mean.
The dad, Josh, negging. Yeah, I didn't love the negging. Like, it makes sense because I was so familiar with Emma. But it does remind me, that part reminds me of like every, like the art of, what's the pickup artist stuff where like negging is the
The
way to get the
game.
girl.
Yeah. Were they like
He regrets
mirroring-
writing that anyway.
The
So
pickup artist regrets writing that book?
Yeah.
Probably because
Yeah.
of all the TikToks these days that are like, this guy's fucked.
he got married and met an actual human woman
Right.
and then regretted.
Look, guys, if you want to meet a woman, you don't actually meet a woman, okay? What you do is you go on the internet and you just tell everybody about how you're the best man, and you get all your boyfriends around. Oops. Oh,
This,
yeah, you
this
get all
was
your
Jason's
boyfriends
speech at
around
his
you.
wedding, by the way.
You hang out with all your best boyfriends. Y'all hang out and you talk about how.
All right,
women are
stop
so-
this. It's embarrassing.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
Speaking of-
I decided to guest on a podcast hosted by two white men. This is on me.
I'm trying.
You said I was sorry.
I'm here the whole month to try and rein some of this in. Because feminism is the law now.
Yeah, it's the law.
Okay, well, you're going to have to do this not remotely and just have a cattle prod.
I mean, it would be great if we could all be in the same studio. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah. I'd fall off the stage. I have a question about your wedding, Jason, since we're bringing it up. Did your wife throw the bouquet?
I had the same question at the end of this. I was like, I don't think I've ever been to a wedding where this happened.
Steve, you were
I
at
also
my
don't
wedding.
know.
I know. And did that happen at your wedding? I don't remember if that happened.
That day was such a blur.
Jason was
Don't
drunk.
remember. No, I was stone cold sober because I was being.
You were stone cold Steve Austin.
I went to my
No.
wedding as stone cold Steve. He
If
came
you want to
up
see
and he
me
was
get
like,
married, give me a hell yeah.
It was
What?
a blur because he got a stunner right at the vows. and-
by his own dad. His dad went on the top of his head.
I feel like she did, but I can't remember.
I wasn't there. And listen, I was
Did
a
you
date.
ask her?
I was Michael's date, so I should have been able to be in the crowd looking for that bouquet.
Okay. B, have you ever been to a wedding where they've thrown the bouquet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you catch
Is it as crazy as it is in the movies?
Fuck
Because
no,
like
I'm running away from that shit.
You like punted it out of the air, like
I choke slam somebody in order to get it. I didn't throw my bouquet because I wanted to keep it, and because who was I going to throw it to? Like, that just wasn't the kind of wedding. Like, I had two weddings to the same person, and I kept the bouquets in both cases. One of them was like paper roses and poppies made out of the pages of The Wizard of Oz. Like, I'm not throwing that. Like, it's a beautiful
definitely
bouquet. So I've never seen that. But every single movie, it's like hair pulling and like it
Yeah,
makes
so
me
Found
really
this Margaret
uncomfortable.
Atwood novel. Does that help?
It
Yes,
definitely
she-
Jason
happened
grabbed one
more
of his
in the
wives'
late
books.
80s and early 90s, I feel, because when I went to a lot of weddings as a kid or as a teenager, it definitely had. I haven't seen somebody throw a bouquet in years, but you usually had two. You had like my mom for her wedding had her regular bouquet, and then she
Okay.
had like a cheaper throwaway bouquet.
Okay, that
And
makes sense.
yeah, it got crazy. Like it was like Spain during the Running with the Bulls. Like just get out of the way of the horny single women.
The son of Ernest Hemingway is a dick, by the way. Sorry, I just read. Well, we were talking about the Running at the Bulls, and he was super obsessed with that.
Can we create a
Sun
voice
Also
for this
Rises.
man? Because he's doing a good job of commenting.
Yeah.
My niece threw her bouquet and broke the can
Can
Where'd
I
it
do
go?
the voice? No, it's gone.
and broke the main chandelier in the hotel. Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Did it
That's
fall?
So
great.
Yeah.
the whole point of the bouquet toss is that whoever catches it is going to get married next, and I think that's why it makes me so uncomfortable. And then the garter toss like is caught by a man, right? And then that man has to put the garter on the girl who
I don't think
He
I
wants
the
to
bouquet.
marry,
Yeah.
I didn't do the
Oh, wait,
garter
what?
thing as I recall, but Madison did throw the bouquet, but we can't remember who caught it. But it wasn't like a battle royal.
It was me, Jason. I still have it.
Is that real?
It's just a jar full of dirt now, and it decomposed.
That's hilarious. We had a very non-traditional wedding because we're not religious people, so we had to find a justice of the priest, and we were like, "Can you limit
A justice of the priest?"
That's amazing.
Yep, that's what I said.
It's just like a priest with like body armor on. He's like, "I'm here to officiate your wedding."
It's just the paladin.
A justice of the peace.
It's an oathbreaker night.
Yeah, my brain's dead.
But like the
Justice of
doom
the peace.
music is playing when he shows up, like.
Oh fuck me. But it wasn't. We kept religion out of it because we're not religious people, and it was a battle to try to find a Judas of the priest who didn't who didn't put some sort of like everybody now worship a sun lord. But we did manage to find somebody who kept it relatively religion free. So that kind of trickled down through the whole wedding. It was very chill, and
you found it hard to find an officiator who couldn't keep it religion free.
Yes,
they exist.
Same thing happened with my pal Craig. Hi, Cat. Like,
pal Craig.
My pal Craig, he had the same thing, and he did find somebody who left religion out of it. But even that guy started talking all this weird shit about the cosmos. Like, what I mean?
What instead of saying God, you're like, a universe was formed by a star that collapsed one time. And that's why we're all here, everyone, to watch.
It's like Carl Sagan is God, and everybody worship the billions and billions and billions of stars.
So wedding 1, the Justice of the Peace made a bunch of jokes, but he didn't bring in anything about religion. And then wedding 2 was officiated by a priest, so it was like pretty religion heavy, considering that was in a church and like the rings were blessed and stuff. But like, you should have been. Where'd you get married?
We got married at
heaven.
The St. Mary's Boat Club in Halifax.
Oh, well, there's your problem right there. So you weren't in Toronto. You were.
Yeah, there was a bunch of white people being like,
What
do you mean you don't want a real priest? You want one of them Lord of the Rings priests?
I'll bless the want one of the Lord of the Rings priests? I don't even know what a Lord of the Rings priest is, but I want
just like
one.
with what looks like Gandalf, right? Like big hat, staff.
Friend of the show, Matt Philp, he commented tonight. When I went to his wedding, he had his friend who got an officiate license specifically for
he did
the wedding. There we go. He got his friend to go up, and instead of bringing God and all of that stuff into it, all he did was replace everything with Lord of the Rings stuff, and it was pretty brilliant and great. And like while the bride was walking down, it was like it was pretty beautiful, and it made my heart swell. And I was like,
okay, that's amazing. But my wedding was in a church, and the recessional, which is when you leave, was end credits throne room on an organ. So on the organ of the church, they played the Star Wars ending theme, and the acolyte, like
they played the Nub Nub song.
The church.
That the Ewoks sing? That's sick.
No.
I have
pulled out a lightsaber, and we had a Kenny Chesney song as one of the hymns, and we had a CCR song as one of the hymns. So like, yeah, I'm a nerd. Yeah, we did good stuff. Anyway, the whole point of that was the bouquet tossing scene kind of makes me uncomfortable because I don't like when they're
I think that it doesn't really exist
that's
anymore, right? Like
no, but like for a whole movie that like for the most part didn't really have that sort of like woman against woman kind of like
it's very strange. It is a very strange concept that you catch this, you get married next. Like
especially because all of them are 16.
Also,
And they do mention that, like, as if this isn't Alabama. I'm 16 years
Yeah.
old, but like,
Yeah.
But also as if you would get invited to your
Kentucky.
teacher's wedding.
Kentucky, not
she
Like-
did set them up.
Yeah, but did they eventually reveal that? Because like in
It's
their
her-
minds, that
Dude,
didn't
it's
happen.
her house that they're getting married at. That's Cher's
Oh,
house.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
And the
That
other
makes so much more
bridesmaid
sense.
is Amy Heckerling.
I wonder
took
if they
that,
approached. I wonder if they approached them and were like, "Listen, if you want to have the wedding at our house, I can convince my daddy to let you do it." Because she would be so proud of that bonding,
Probably.
right? That she did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but you have
I
to let
took
me
that
invite
whole-
all my
My new
friends,
headcanon.
and we
I
have to
took
be able to
that
have a
whole-
battle royale over the bouquet at the end. All right,
I took
Jason,
that whole
you try to
joke the
say.
wrong way because when she says the like married at 16, I'm from, LA, not Kentucky or whatever. There is a very glowing issue with Josh and Cher's relationship in this. I don't know how far you want to get into it, but Cher is very much 16, right? And Josh seems to be in college. Now, me and Steve were talking about this before the show. It kind of hurts your head to connect the dots on when how old Josh would have been when his parents split up and he ended up being sort of just like a house guest, like protege of the father. He has to be 17 for it not to be illegal, but he's in college, right? So do you guys have a problem with that, given the sort of the fun, playful nature of this film, or have you guys thought about?
Are
the
you saying,
nefarious
is it
nature?
weird that it's statutory rape? Is that what you're
Yes,
asking?
that is the exact question that I am currently asking.
Also,
thank you for
we didn't discuss
reading
it this
between the
deeply.
lines.
Jesus Christ.
A little bit. I remember being super squicked out when I watched that movie because it was her stepbrother.
That's why
Like,
I'm grossed out by it too.
it's-
Where I'm like,
That doesn't
It
really
doesn't matter that it's not still her stepbrother. It does not matter that they've been divorced for a while.
Yeah.
It was still at one point
It
a
doesn't seem
relative.
like,
And that's weird. And like, I know there's a whole section on that on the hub, but like, not my thing. And I am deeply uncomfortable with the whole concept of it being like, y'all
Yeah,
were related.
I
Maybe
watched-
not by blood, but y'all were related.
Yeah.
And
The
They're
only
like
way that-
two ships in the night, two siblings ships in the night.
I watched this movie with my partner, and we both were like, "This is weird, right?" And we both agreed it was weird. But then we were both also trying to figure out the disparity between age. We were more concerned about the age than we were about.
Which you can't
the
figure
stepbrother
out
thing.
because it's Paul Rudd and the man is ageless.
I know he still looks the
he-
same. Yeah.
So he knows that he's pre-law. He lives in the dorms, so he's probably
Second
a
year?
sophomore,
Yeah.
like either a sophomore or junior. So he's like probably 19
Yeah,
or
that's
20.
exactly the
20,
age that I.
But then
I
you
Uh,
also have to figure out when because they were married for 5 years, which means that man was his dad for 5 years. But how long ago
Just
were they
because
divorced?
my mom married someone else doesn't mean he's my dad. Actually,
Yeah.
Kato, that's exactly what that means.
Yeah, but then you're like, so like, when was he a kid in the eyes of the dad? And the dad kind of like watches them grow up, and you're like, there's so many different.
He's still a kid in the eyes of the dad.
Yeah,
but the
of course.
dad is fine with it because when Josh gets weird and is like, oh, I don't want Christian to be taking her to, we've completely skated over Christian and like his amazing
We
like,
have,
gay.
yeah. We haven't talked about it even once.
I think Christian gets a whole segment. I think
Yeah.
we're gonna get to him.
Yeah. So sorry. When Josh is like, I think I should go to the party to watch over her when Christian and her go to the Mighty Boss Tones concert. You can see that Mel is like, okay, like he likes her. Yeah. Like you go. So he seems to be approving of it.
He does like one of those like tight-lipped dad laughs where he's like,
The only way I can reconcile this is twofold. One, because in Emma, there's that like the age gap. So Mr. Knightley's younger brother is married to Emma's older sister. So Mr. Knightley is actually quite a bit older than she is. And they are technically related, and he spends a lot of time in the house, and they do refer to each other in like a very familial way. and he loves the dad and like hangs out all the time. So only because I'm like thinking about it like this is modern Emma, do I just allow that to be a fantasy that I'm just not going to think about too much? Because if I think about it too much, I really don't like it anymore. So we're just going to skate over that. But it is weird. The age gap is weird. The fact that they're like, and if they didn't mention it,
they were
if they didn't mention it as much, like, but they seem to be very conscious of it. Like he calls himself like your brother type. Like it's just not.
Yeah,
but
I think on top of that,
I think the purpose of that in the dialogue when he's like, you know, do you want your brother type person coming to a party? Like he's specifically saying that because I think that's meant to be him being like, I am attracted to you as well. I don't want to say I'm your brother because like if I say that, then it's labeled as like being strange.
But then he calls Mel dad and then mentions at some other point and Cher's like, you're not my brother.
At a point, right? Like
yes, but that's what we're talking about. Like
I know, but
very related to each other.
Okay, I'm not saying that that's
like,
invalid.
How about this? If this was 1600, would they need a papal dispensation to marry? Because you would need a papal dispensation
if this was
to marry someone who was
he would just be married to her immediately. He'd be like, I'm
no,
married to you now.
no.
This was Virginia.
If you were related to like if you were even distantly related to somebody like how Henry VIII and Catherine Parr, I believe, were distantly related, and if the church hadn't broken away, then they would have needed a papal dispensation in order to marry, because there are rules about how close your genealogy is supposed to be. It wasn't until
Habsburgs.
So that's the next thing. It wasn't until that, and then you have like the Victorian era where people started marrying their first cousins, and like you said, the Habsburgs, which are the most Anyway, so if this was the 1600s, they would be less inbred, but they would be allowed to marry in this circumstance because they wouldn't need a papal dispensation. So on a blood level, on a like, could they have children level, but it's just like,
this is making my stomach hurt.
I don't regret bringing this up at all.
It's weird.
It's weird, yes. I think that we can all agree that it's weird. Like, it's definitely weird.
Because I've been reading so much history.
But I mean, like, how do you adapt that
against my will in a lot of cases
of Emma in this case without doing that, right? It has to. Can it be a pool boy? He was my favorite pool boy, and he went to school to be a lawyer.
Yeah, some stuff just doesn't translate.
Yeah.
Like the picture that Cher takes of Ty, that then Elton has in her locker, and he has the picture of Ty in the locker because Cher took it, is weird, right? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. In
a Shakespearean tale, it would be like she gave the scarf to the friend, and in
Emma, we don't have to go to Shakespeare. In Emma, she paints a picture of Harriet, the Ty character. So she paints her portrait, and then Elton takes that and frames it because Emma drew it, which makes more sense. Like, she actually made things,
as opposed to being the person behind the camera.
Exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't really translate. And
it's easy to take a picture. It's not easy to paint a portrait of somebody. It's like your artistic expression is being
So that's one of those things that also doesn't really translate.
And if it would have had it where she was like an amateur photographer or something, and it wasn't just, a snapshot.
Yeah.
Then it would have made a little more sense, because then it would have been her art. But it was literally just like
that also we remake this, and he just shows his phone.
It also makes more sense that they got her to stand in the rose garden with the rose and stuff, and take the picture, and then that's the picture I assume he has in his locker, right?
Yes.
It's not the picture of the friends; it's that picture. Yeah. And he's like, I like it because you took it.
That makes even less sense, the one with the friends. But sorry, B, do you remember the movie that Alicia Silverstone was in called The Crush?
Yes.
Did you ever watch that? Okay. So there's The Crush, and then there's also, oh my God, it had Brooke Shields in it when she was a baby, and she played a baby prostitute, and it was a Victorian era one.
Yes.
Pretty Baby.
Yeah.
So this era was a lot of these kinds of huge age gap movies where it's the girl's
Lolita.
fault that the man is like falling in love with her. Like that's sort of like really weird. So that part of it, like the age difference, wouldn't have been that weird considering all the other kind of like movies and like the weirdness that Hollywood has about like young women and older men.
Not to mention all the V.C. Andrews novels that were being pumped out around that time.
Yeah.
And
So
the obsession with vampires and Anne Rice, which that is an age gap.
what was I thinking about?
100-year age gap? Are you insane? Blah.
Hundreds and hundreds. So yeah, so these like those are massive age gaps. So this would have been completely fine. Like what you said, like the step siblings thing is the weirder part.
Yeah, I'm less worried about the 17 to 19 because that's still only 2 years away, right? Like I remember being 15 and dating a 17-year-old.
Yeah, I had an 18-year-old girlfriend when I was 16. You know.
Yeah, that's less weird because it's yes, technically, but it's a 2-year age gap, which doesn't seem like that much.
I mean, there are people who are married over like 10-year gaps and stuff.
But this is a whole ass movie. You know, that's the part that I was sort of.
The gaps are
I think that the
bigger.
consensus we can all agree with here is that like
it's
a
weird.
2-year gap in the story that's being told is not as creepy as it is that they're step siblings. that is creepier than the gap. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the gap is also creepy. I mean, we're not going to say it's not creepy, but like it's still creepy.
Ty comes in real hot near the beginning, being like, "Yeah, of course I'm not a virgin. I'm 15." That's also like a weird moment to sort of play off as comedy.
I knew a lot of kids like that though.
Yeah,
fair.
It was 95
in high school,
closer to the early 1800s when it was normal.
I don't know why.
mean, small town in the 90s, there wasn't a lot to do.
You know what?
So we
That's true.
They didn't even have a Nintendo 64 yet.
So
Super Nintendo and TurboGrafx 16 and a PlayStation 1.
I had a TurboGrafx 16 as well, and my uncle was telling me about how Nintendo 65 was coming out real soon. So he works at Nintendo.
That's what a man who's working a working job calls his girlfriend. Calls her the TurboGrafx 16.
No.
In 1995.
In 95, yeah.
But no, you're onto something, because in like growing up in the inner city, like we were tea parties and like doing various things in the city. But my friend from high school moved to a small town in the United States, and the stories that she would tell us about all the crazy stuff that would like happen at that high school, like wild. Like I thought it only existed in movies, but like it's real.
Real.
Oh yeah.
I remember having
the bush parties happened.
The bush parties.
And
that's
what
I was
happened at a bush party never stayed at a bush party. It was
everybody found out about it.
Like it follows.
Yeah. It does follow. The stories follow you forever. Yeah. Oh my God.
That's why it's interesting about Christian and how when he was outed, they were all very cool about it.
Chill about it? Yeah.
Cher was like oblivious, and then they, Donald Faison's character rattles off a bunch of like inoffensive gay stereotype sort of language, and then
no
she's
high
like,
school boy would know, by the way.
Exactly.
I mean, there's an implication that they go to a fancier school. It's still a public school, but it's a little bit fancier.
You saw that debate class.
The only term that I had heard before that was cake boy.
I heard friend of Dorothy, but it's because I'm super into Judy Garland.
They have tennis lessons. This is not a normal school.
No, they didn't have tennis lessons. They had one tennis ball shooter, and no one actually hit the ball.
But they had 2 tennis courts. My high school didn't have tennis courts. Did yours? Anyone?
Mine did.
They had volleyball courts that would sometimes double as tennis courts in the gym.
They just fill it with sand.
My tennis court didn't have a tennis net or a basketball net, and we used it as a steel cage to wrestle each other in.
Okay.
which
So
is
you
why I
are
have
Stone
back
Cold Steve
problems.
Austin.
I am. I went off the middle of the cage and I was destroyed forever.
As I disappeared for a second and came back, I just realized there were tennis courts on my high school premises. They just were like overrun by weeds and never
Yeah,
used.
nobody could use
So it was
them
like
because
there
they didn't have
was a
the
tennis
funding.
program at one point that just
Yeah.
died off.
I went to school in the inner city of Toronto, so there is no space for tennis courts. But we had 2 gyms in the building, and so
and they could convert the walls and stuff to be like, now it's a tennis court. Now
you
it's
don't need
football.
walls for it to tennis court. You just need to be big enough, and then like
Have a
a
net.
net in the middle.
And a guy
That's
to make
what
the
she said.
noises with a microphone.
Like it's like volleyball, only
Now it's
shorter.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they would just lower the volleyball net in the gym.
We're not playing
when
badminton.
we were learning tennis.
It's tennis now.
We could also go to the Lakeshore Country Club and play tennis there if we wanted to.
Country club.
We should talk about Christian a bit if you guys want.
What? Just before we do that, I want to do one thing really quickly.
Oh dear.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
She's totally clueless.
The thing that's connected to this. So they say Clueless in this movie 3 times, and my theory is that it's said once per act. They say it at the following times. They say it at 22:19, then they say it again at 28:22, and then they say it again at an hour 17:59. And what's interesting about that is it's almost like they framed the title of the movie around like what would seemingly be a throwaway joke. But I really liked that. Oh man, it's Bray Wyatt. They said it at 3 very specific times. Anyway, that's that segment.
I think you're right. I mean, it's also like it's very Shakespeare coded as well. By the way, that incredible thing, like it's like a famous quote or something. Like we're from what? Cliff's Notes?
Right. Yeah.
Kids these days
don't know what Cliff Notes.
No idea what Cliff's Notes sparks.
Now you got AI noting your cliffs.
Yeah. Read the book
And
to
that's
me
no
in
cap.
5 sentences. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a Shakespeare quote. Oh, and when she's like, no, Hamlet didn't say that to Josh's
Polonius did.
Yes, that was. I love that moment so much because, like, she's quoting. She watched the Mel Gibson movie, but like, how does that make like she knows it more accurately? Like, how is that any different from like she knows?
It's
what
great
Hamlet
because it's
said.
not right. It just shows that she is smart and she's retaining stuff, right? Like she's not an idiot. And this is like the thing that I love about her character from the beginning is like from the sprinklings of the start, you're like, she's dumb, but is she dumb? Is she dumb? Is she dumb? And your whole thing is like, is she dumb? And you're like, she's not dumb. And you're being overrided every time you think that she's dumb. She does something smarter than like anybody would expect. And sometimes like smarter than anyone that I know in my real life would do. Where I'm like, oh,
I didn't know Polonius said that.
Yeah. Yeah. Who
I
the
had
fuck
no
is
idea.
Polonius? But I mean, even just in terms of like understanding psychology in her own friend group and stuff, like she's smarter than most people. Like she knows what she's doing for everything. And then they throw in like she did good in geometry, but you're like, yeah, we know, we get it. We don't need that. We know she's smart. And like, you know, and then you keep kind of dipping down into like the dumb stuff, but like that's only there to show her growth, I think, because I think one of the main things about this movie is that it's like easy to forget that she's already a really strong, smart, and intelligent and kind person to begin with. And then she goes into a dip, and then we have to like pull her out of the dip by the end, which is, you know, a weird way to make a movie, but like it's really effective and good.
Real low stakes movie, and that's kind of what I like about it.
That's why it's a comfort food movie for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is nothing stressful about this film except watching her try to drive on the freeway.
That whole
That's so
sequence
funny
is
that that's the
good.
most.
But that wasn't
stressful
even
thing
her.
that could happen
That
to
was
them.
her friend. Her friend does that.
That was Dion, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But also her driving lesson was equally chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the wrong lane, and then when the driving instructor's like, move into the right lane, she crashes into a car.
Yeah.
And then he's like, pull over, we're done here.
He's like,
and
well, you almost killed a biker. You sorry, go ahead.
That's the low point of the movie because she realizes that she can't argue her way out of this. That like there actually is a finality. There's a limit to her power. There's a limit to her wealth and her beauty and her richness and all of this. And Ty is like gonna take Josh and blah blah blah.
And the thing standing in her way is the fugly instructor of driving. He's like, listen, honey, I am Judas God and Judas Priest, and you're not getting past me because you almost killed a man, you almost ran over a biker, you went into the wrong lane, and he like lists all the reasons, and she's like, that list doesn't really mean anything to her. All she knows is that she failed, right? And she's like, oh God.
The low point of the movie is when Brittany Murphy says to her, "You're a virgin who can't drive."
I know, but also like, so when I heard that moment, I was like, that is her reflecting. She's probably heard a bunch of lines like that from Cher, like over and over, and she's probably absorbing these things a lot, right? Bring the cat over here. I need to tell this to the cat.
On the wall.
You are a stupid idiot who doesn't know how to drive. But like, I don't know if this is how.
I don't know. I feel like I'd feel safer with that cat behind the wheel than Cher, to be honest.
I don't know if this is how you guys thought about this, but like when she says that, I thought that was her. Like she has been watching her for so long that she wanted to hurt her for a second because she's probably been hurt like a ton of times by her being like, you shouldn't wear that, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't date this guy, you shouldn't do all these things.
Oh yeah, like 100%. That's what that is.
So she's like, how do I reflect that back at you? And her response is like, that was mega harsh, man. Why would you say that to me?
I think that's partially it, and I think it's partially Ty realizing that this hero character that she's been blindly worshiping is fallible, and the pedestal crashes.
Yeah, she
and
also
Ty's like, wait a second, you're not actually better than me. Like, I've been doing what you want because I thought you were better than me, but actually
you're the same or worse.
Yeah, okay. Like, we didn't go into that, but that's a fantastic point. That part of this is that Ty does worship her and sees like these kids at this school, like
well, that's the line, right? You found someone even more clueless than you to worship you.
Yeah.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
That's what we call a callback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we talk about Christian?
Oh, right.
Time for Christian.
So he's gay.
What?
Hold on a minute.
I had forgotten that he was the gay best friend character because they show him as this weird handsome guy who shares like, that is the guy that I want to hold hands with. And he even like, she does the thing where she drops her pen. He kneels down. He's like, "Hey, nice stems." And I was like, maybe he's not, because I remembered. Doesn't
he come in like that? He's like
exactly
with his coat over
her shoulder,
over his one shoulder, yeah.
And when he said "nice stems," I was like, "Oh, I thought there was a gay best friend character in this movie. I had forgotten." The movie, not seeing it for so long, actually managed to make me forget about this character because of the way they framed him. But then it started to kind of come back to me, because he's a little too pretty versus like handsome. He's not doing anything that's untoward, which the way they frame pretty much all the dudes in this. In fact, I have a quote from Donald Faison's character. Street slang is an increasingly form of expression. Most of the feminine pronouns have mocking, but not necessarily
misogynistic undertones.
Yeah.
which was like the writer of the movie writing so hard.
I think that was also like their way of being like, this guy is an asshole, but he's like learning how to be a better asshole. Like that's
It's
how
part
I
of it's
thought
part
it.
of Cher's realization of being a good person, because in the quiet moments she sees Dee and what's Donald Faison's character's name?
Murray.
She sees them just being sweet to one another, and that's enough for her to be like, oh, but he's just playing it up for the boys, right? And Christian,
No, he's using it for the girls, man.
Their
he's
relationship
Yeah.
stresses me out. Like when he's shaving his head in the bathroom. What am I going to show our grandkids? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And then they have that massive fight.
Even at the end of the movie when he's like, they're already planning out our weddings. He's the only one that says. Everyone else is like sitting there being
I
like,
love Stacey Dash's delivery of like they're gonna wear sailor hats with veils.
all right, keep going.
Christian.
So I was just gonna say, but then you move to Christian, and they try to paint him like a dude, but then the cracks start to form on that, because the second that he's kind of denying Cher's advances, even at the beginning, are really funny, and it becomes very obvious. And then they have that date, and then it's just he falls off the bed because he
Well, no, that happens later. That happens later.
He brings over Spartacus and
Sporadicus,
which I thought was hilarious. Because he's a real fan.
That's such a good
Tony
movie,
Curtis.
by the way. Some Like
It
It Hot
is.
is such a good movie. And you know what? They wouldn't be able to make it today. Like this movie wouldn't get made today. Not so earnestly and beautifully as it was then. And I just
That's why we need Barbies to bring it back, baby.
Yeah. Basically the rest of what I was going to say is once we get to the scene with Christian at the ska club, which take me to a ska club, please.
Yeah,
ska
where
was-
everybody
like,
wears
actually,
suits.
I love ska.
I love ska. Take
We
me
all
to
grew
a
up in the
ska club.
90s.
What I realized though is it
Yeah.
seemed
Everything sucks, but I have a trumpet. Fuck yes.
Yeah,
like hell yeah.
I have a trombone.
For every dingy punk club there is, I think that this ska club was like a rich person's dingy punk club. That's what it kind of felt like, the way they framed this place. And he's dancing with the boys. She's looking over at him like, "Oh, that's my beau. We're gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend." He's
Look
like
how
hitting
he
on the
ignores all the
bartender.
girls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
Like,
like
she
it's
completely,
also like a
"Don't touch
gross
me,
thing where
bitch."
like he's like, "Get the fuck off
Yeah.
me!" Like, he's not ignoring her. He's like, "Get out away! Don't touch."
She completely misreads it, but Josh doesn't in that
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
Like he sees that happening.
understand
And that's when
that.
the audience, except for like me until I was about like 17 years old, realizes that he's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either, but then I didn't realize that 3 of my ex-boyfriends in high school were also gay, so clearly.
Yeah, you'd go up to them and they'd be like, "Excuse me, I'm trying to order a drink from this handsome man."
It is really funny.
Yeah.
He's
I make a really good beard.
he's kind of like a bit of a throwaway character. Like he's put in basically as a
Yeah.
red herring just for
Yeah.
her to have a stepping stone to like not to try and get her own boyfriend and then to have the realization that she likes Josh. This character is brought over from I think his name is Frank Churchill. And in Emma, that character is actually secretly engaged to the Amber character, like the foe of Emma, who she doesn't really like, but she's a sweet girl. Anyway, so
also
her
homeless.
rival. And Frank kind of tries to like, in order to divert attention away from this like secret engagement, like I think flirts a lot with Emma, and Emma's not really ever that interested in him. But like, how do you translate that onto a movie like Clueless? Like, you have to make this man somehow unavailable, and in the book it's that he's secretly engaged and he's taking the piss out of her, or just like using her to hide that. In this, it's like, I think the obvious choice to Amy Heckerling was like, okay, well, he has to be gay then. But it's another one of those things that doesn't translate great. But having the Christian character there and having someone that's so different with like his kind of like 50s outfits and like I think he adds some color like
Yeah,
to
he's doing
the
like a James
Yeah.
Dean.
I think it works. I think honestly, if you were going to do that, because he's likable, and the fact that he's gay is not a character flaw. Whereas if you brought in the original character where he was in a secret relationship with the rival, that's a character flaw.
he's not a
and
likable character
yeah,
in the book.
he sucks in Emma.
Yes.
He straight up sucks.
Yep.
I mean, even if you look at it from a non-gay perspective, he kind of sucks as a friend in this a little bit as well. If you don't realize he's gay until you realize he's gay, but it's like, you know, if you do know, then you're like, oh, okay, then it's fine. But like when he's like, I'm gonna leave you guys here and you guys just all go home.
No,
like
he offers to drive them.
He does. I'm
He
not
says
saying
like,
he's
no, I'll
horrible.
take them, and then Josh is like, no, and then he's like, yay, like sure, he let go a little too quick. Sorry, I'm thinking about a situation
He's
that
out
I
of there
had.
immediately. He's like, I gotta go get my wiener wet or whatever with the
But
with
he
the gang
was
line.
willing to make sure that his friends were safe first.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yes.
He was very
then-
grateful when Josh stepped in, but
Yeah.
like
because he was like, oh, thank God. Now I don't have to worry about this. Yeah.
Exactly, and like the way he's really gentle with Cher.
Well,
Like
I think
even
he
when
likes her. Like he is her friend. Like he's like, I
yeah,
want to
when
be
he's
friends
saying
with
goodbye
you. Yeah.
to her, he's like, we're friends, like
Give me a kiss. Yeah.
And it's just like his way. But then when he saves Ty, like I don't
Yeah.
think the gay best friend character would have, like he's not played up for laughs. Like the way he's styled isn't like gay. It's just like
it's
he's
not
found
a
this.
trope.
Yeah, he's found this like his own style, just the way that like Amber has her own weird style. Like it's
Yeah.
it's
He
very
just
similar
really
to
likes
that.
the 1950s, the style, the movie,
And
the
also
way they
like
talk.
standing up like he is in the 1950s and being like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Someone
but then-
could have
Yeah.
died over here.
No, but he has
They
that
should have
very
given
real.
him a mid-Atlantic accent on top of all of it, just for whatever reason.
He spends half his time in Chicago. Anyway, so I found that in that scene where he is saving Ty, like that sort of 50s persona kind of drops, and he's just like a very like just a very human, very like I don't know how to say, like a very boiled down, basic, nice thing to do. And like you just don't see that kind of depth in a character like this that has so little screen time that is commonly used as a trope. And it's one of my favorite scenes of him just like
He does
coming
have
to
like
her
so
aid.
little to do, but like also does so much with the time that he has. It's pretty great. It's good. I love that character.
This is a good movie.
I want to marry that character. Sorry, I want to be that character.
I want to just as sort of the band leader, I want to sort of just let you guys know that it is 10:25. We do
I got
have
10:24.
Okay, well,
I also have
you're
that.
correct. I want to make sure that we cover any new scenes or ideas that we haven't. Is there anything you got? Because we got to go into a couple little things at the end,
Right.
like some final thoughts, the MPAA rating game, etc. Just for the next kind of 10 minutes, are there any other scenes that you guys want to bring up, or it's like we're reminiscing over a fantastic.
I mean,
film from our
I'd love to
youths.
bring up the scene where she, like not the beginning part of it, but the end part of it, where Elton basically sexually assaults her in the car and keeps being a mean bitch, and then she leaves, and then obviously she wants him to apologize, but he doesn't, and instead he just drives away, and then she gets fucking.
And then she gets robbed, and that robbery
At
went
gunpoint.
That robbery went the best possible way it possibly could have. Like all she got. She even says like I'm wearing a designer dress. Like without any of the horrible other stuff that could have possibly happened, but like it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But that was a really shitty moment for sure that I think should have helped a little bit more for her to like realize that
It's also quite funny.
She's
like, it is quite funny.
It's played more for comedy because we're watching a comedy, but it made me sick to my stomach and made me feel very uncomfortable.
One of the things that it like is unusual about this scene is that she's aware of what's happening. She doesn't want it. She states that she was sexually harassed, like when she's like saying like robbed, sexually harassed, like what my night is going so terribly, and like you don't really get that just directness from this type of movie. Like that might have been played completely differently. And sometimes sexual harassment in these movies is like pardoned until it's like real bad, but they just went straight to calling it that.
And then you never see Elton again after that.
Was
you never see
sexual harassment was, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you never see Elton again after that. He's gone. He's not back in the movie after that moment. It's like,
well, he is.
Oh, he is. He's dancing with Amber.
He's in that scene in the classroom where he's like, "Oh, fucking do the thing."
What I mean to say is that he's not.
But he doesn't have any. He's not a character in the
anymore.
Yeah.
Like she's cut him out completely. That we don't care about him really.
But I think that's one of the reasons this movie has aged so well when a lot of the movies of this time didn't, because the way that he sexually harassed her in a lot of movies from the 90s and early 2000s is just usually played off as like aggressive flirting. And even a lot of heroes do it to get the girl in like regular teen movies. So to see it called for what it was such a groundbreaking thing for, a silly little teen movie to do in the 90s.
And that's why I'm not bothered by this scene. Like, it doesn't make me feel bad necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, the stakes are pretty low just because I brace myself for moments like this in movies. I'm like, ah! And then like it's not bad, and you're like, yeah,
victory. It turned out to be a non-horrifying scene. Yeah.
Nobody's leaving traumatized.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
But I mean, he shouldn't have left. And even when he's leaving, she's like, "Where are you going?" Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Even she realizes, like, oh man, maybe I should have asked him to stay. And like, the thing is that like,
but she doesn't expect like her friend to behave like that. Like,
that's 100%. Well, because she thought she was getting a ride home, and she wanted to. Yeah.
And he had been in her friend circle.
Yes.
For a long time, so she trusted him.
But he'd been kissing her like over and over again. And I'm like, every time it happened, I was like, oh God, this guy's going to be a weird perv, isn't he? He's going to be a perv. He's a perv. Look at his perv face. He's too tall and he's too pervy. He's a perv.
Yeah. But also, Noel, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I know that, in my friend groups, especially growing up when I was younger, we always had that one friend who was just kind of touchy, and it was just, that was them.
Where's my hug?
Yeah. So honestly, I probably would have never thought anything of it either.
That he would try to kiss you like 10 times in a car after you'd said stop. Like
no. Like I think you're talking about the previous, like in the early parts of the movie when, like,
where he's really touchy and everything with her, and it's like, okay, well, growing up, sometimes you just have those people in your friend circles, and you don't see it for that because you think, oh, that's just how this friend is.
Sorry, that's what I meant as well. It's like the guy throughout the movie, he's like grabbing her and kissing her and stuff, and like that's your friend, and then he's driving you home, and then he's being a creep, and you're like, what are you doing?
It's a different kind of affection at that point.
Yeah.
So I never had a boy that was like this, but I had the touchy-feely like girl who was like actually gay. And you're like, oh shoot,
you can all be fucking creeps. Hold on a minute.
Not in a creepy way. No. Didn't I tell you that I grew up in a utopia? Did I not mention that part? But not
Plot
to that.
twist. It was a dystopia all along.
And you don't know if at that point it was consensual, right? Like we don't have the context for the touchy-feeliness that he has early on. And if like this is the relationship that you've like agreed to have, like implicitly or explicitly, like with this person, like there are people that you're going to be closer and more touchy-feely with. But then that's the line, right? Like you, just because I've given my consent for this type of contact doesn't mean I'm giving my consent for this type of contact, which is that blurred line that we have so much fun with.
And that's the thing too, right? If you see their interactions earlier in the movie, like he's very touchy-feely. She doesn't really discourage it.
That's the thing that kind of bugs me about it.
Seem weirded out because
bothered
again,
by it, though.
At the very beginning of the movie, Elton like kisses her on the cheek when they're in class, and I was like, "Oh, is he the like romantic?"
But they keep
interest in
showing
this?
that
Like,
it happens like over and over again. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is
But
it gets
again,
weirder and weirder.
like I've had friends like that where they're just very physically affectionate. And I know a lot of people who've had friends like that where, you know, just physically affectionate, and it's fine to a point. And as you get older, it's much easier to set those boundaries preemptively and say, hey, you know,
Stop.
if this is as far as things are going, cool, I'm fine with that. But we're not going to go any further. But as a teenager, you don't know. Yeah. And if this is what you're exposed to, and this is the type of friendship you have, you think, okay, this is fine. It's not going to go any further than this. He's not into me. He's into my friend. It's cool.
Until you're getting driven home, and he's like, "I knew you loved me all along."
And like, there's an experimental playfulness, like, and a like playing at sexuality that like children and teens have, right? Which is like usually implicitly consensual, and like playing doctor and like doing like suck and blow and spin the bottle, and like that's like a kind of a natural experimentation that happens, that's just part of figuring out who you are and like what you like, and all of these things. So the problem is when if he's not going in like that, if Elton always liked her and was just doing that to like grab a kiss or all of that, like the ownership that he feels of her then translates into that car scene, right? So there's two kind of different things happening.
So he's already built up. He's built up a thing beforehand that he's like, well, this is happening.
Like,
it's happening.
She's into me.
Yeah.
But Cher has
That's
two little.
so
There was that
scary.
weird
That
little.
scares the shit out of me.
Them talking to each other as adults sort of plays into that too, where they all think that they're literally in their 20s getting ready to get married and stuff, because even in that scene she says something along the lines of like, you know, Elton, like, I just want to see you settle down, and I'm like, you're 16. There's no settling down. You're not even at the point of like having a real long-lasting relationship at this point.
That's translated over from Emma, though. I think that's one of those like pieces that just like sloppily comes over. But it is kind of odd. But like maybe theory corner is that she's trying to create these like relationships and matches and whatnot because she lost her mother so young and doesn't remember her, and is trying to create like these like affectionate romantic like pairings in like a tangible way that she never got to see as a kid. So that's my theory corner. So that's why she wants everyone to settle down.
I think it's partly that, and
Theories.
That was her theory.
Also partly when you're 16, you think you're an adult. You really do.
Absolutely.
You're sitting there, you're like, I match my dress to my shirt and my gum to my shoes. And
you're talking. I was more likely to talk to my high school boyfriend about marriage than I would be now to anyone that I date. Because when you're 16, you believe in that idealized, okay, well, we're dating. This clearly means that we are not going to change as people ever, and we are going to grow old together and fall in love and, you know, get married and have 3 kids and a boat.
As
Yeah.
long as the boat's there,
So,
I'm there.
I don't know how many children you hang out around, but I was
I have a teenager. I
Okay.
have a teenager.
Perfect. Okay. I don't have a teenager, but I worked in retail for like a really long time, and I like managed teenagers for the most part. So I felt like I had like a kindergarten basically. But like as it's like being a teacher, like you're there as the kind of adult parental figure in their life, and it's so strange to see like your 16-year-old 17-year-old employee come to you and like they're brokenhearted, they're crying on the floor because like their boyfriend broke up with them, and just like the worlds that they live in. And now like at my age, I'm like, it's your first boyfriend, you're fine. But like in my head, I'm like, this won't matter to you. Like it really won't. Or like all the woes and dramas that they go through for like these small things that mean just so much to them. Because that's all, like when you're 16, that's all you know, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's worst experience is still their worst experience.
Yeah. I had a different like upbringing because my parents were like party animals and treated me like a person from a very young age. So I wasn't like having girlfriends and be like, we should get married. I was like, it was more so like
We should get
having exactly like having like relationships with girls and women when growing up and into my 20s was fine. Like that, I was okay at that. But it was more so my interpersonal relationships with my dude friends was like scheming like I was a full adult, even at like 14, 15, 16. Like what are we going to get it? What mischief are we going to get into? But I think that's very similar to like sort of how these people relate, like that when they go to that party like in the valley, it's everybody's just acting like a maniac. All through all the high school scenes, they're all just like trying to figure out where the next party is, what they're going to be doing on the weekend. Like that sort of stuff is going on, and that very much is the crux of how these kids are treating adulthood at 16. Just some of them are like so hyper focused on shacking up so young, and maybe in the 90s that was still that, like these are effectively Gen X, you know, well yeah, about like late Gen X, like elder young Gen X would have been like this group, and that was very much the yeah, well that's like what we
micro
are.
generations. No, I'm a solid millennial. Like,
Sorry,
you
yeah,
get more millennial than I do.
Right, Zenny,
I'm right there. I'm a millennial, baby.
Yeah,
I'm an elder
I was
millennial.
born in the early 80s. So.
Yeah, I was born in 85.
You're a geriatric millennial.
Hey,
I'm 83. I'm literally the Zennial cutoff.
Stop talking about it like that.
Yeah,
I was still drinking from hoses coming home when the streetlights were on and throwing jarts at my friends. So like,
jarts.
I got the tail
Was that
end.
like a fart jar?
No, like lawn darts.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was like a jar full of, you farted in it and like threw it at them, like
that's pretty good.
Gassed them.
You can tell Steven's the youngest person in the room here.
All right.
No, but
by 3 days.
I made it up just then.
The being 16 in the mid 90s kind of meant that you're going to grow up and shut yourself off from the rest of the world, where the boomers are going to still rule the world and the millennials are all going to be anxious and nervous, and Gen Z's the next gen that's going to rule the world, but it's going to be a fucking burnt ash pile. So
you're be like, whatever.
When you were if you were Gen X though, like no, you thought you were going to get that 401k, the job straight out of college, like that was still very much a possibility.
Well, these Gen Xers are what my cousin, who's 29, he's a millennial technically, right? But he's very much still like in that mindset, like he's able to use that slang a lot easier than I am. And we're exactly 10 years apart, but we're exactly 10 years apart, like culturally, if you can say
so my sister's
for North America, you know what I mean?
My sister's probably exactly the same age as Cher is, within like a year or two, and she's like a late Gen Xer, and I'm telling you though, like she and I are a world apart on when we reach the job market. Like she married the person that she met in high school, like, so, and they're
A
still
lot of
together
people I
like
went to
many years
school with
later.
did.
Yeah, so it's just like generationally, like we're the first generation of jaded, hate everyone, everything's not working out for us, and that's our mindset going into it. But like seems pretty natural to me. Like she might have actually stayed with Josh. Like that may have happened.
Yeah, like
Well-
they probably got married like a year later and
The
busted
only
out
thing
a
that
couple
makes me think
kids.
that that's not
No, she
true
would have
is
gone
that-
to college first.
Yeah, and then gone back to Gotham where she had to.
Yes, of course.
But
And college would have been
Robin.
$12,000 for 9 years.
he's like, maybe one of these days I'll teach you how to ride, and she's like, yeah,
You know what though?
okay.
It makes sense to continue with Robin after Josh though, because they've got that same kind of like wiener
Yeah.
boy energy.
They do have wiener boy energy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yes.
Like good-hearted wiener boy energy, but
Yeah, of course,
definitely wiener
of
boy
course.
energy.
One of them wants to
The
avenge
Amnesty
the death of
International
their
shirt.
parents being murdered by Two-Face, and the other one is, trying to become
Being an
Two-Face.
environmental lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was Paul Rudd's Amnesty International shirt. Like he brought that onto the set.
Yeah.
Space Kid
Wiener
Tim
boy
does it.
energy is a great band name.
Thanks, Tim.
Tim does it again.
Amazing.
All right, guys. Do we have anything else we want to talk about in this movie?
Yeah, we
or
should probably take her home. I think we covered all of the major stuff.
I miss
think
malls.
we covered all the
Can I just say that?
characters. I miss
I
malls
really
too.
miss malls.
Sometimes I go to the
That's my
grocery
final
store just to
thought.
get a little bit of the taste.
I was
But
a
the thing
mall
is-
boy. I was a
I was a mall boy.
I was a mall rat, which is the common term.
I know. but,
Oh.
yeah. I didn't like when they called me a rat. I was like, what do you mean? Stop calling me that.
Well, my husband calls my hands rat claws. So,
Your husband knows what you are and what you'll be forever.
like honestly, if you see a tail go around a corner, that's probably my little rat tail. I'll be in like at work, like you'll see my rat tail go around to like the good stationery, like
The good
copy
cheese.
room.
Yeah, where the good
Yeah,
cheese
the good
is,
copy
yeah.
room, and all like with like binders and books and like the good pens and stuff. And you see my little rat tail go around another corner. So yeah, I'm a rat.
So what you're saying is we should all grow rat tails because it's 1995.
Our
and it's
hair
the
or
end of-
butts?
No.
our hair.
My
Our hair. That's all I have left.
Only if you shave the steps into the side.
Yep. And
Oh my goodness.
one little eyebrow shave, just like Vanilla Ice himself.
No, that's
No,
fine.
that's been co-opted by the queer women. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Jason,
our
what do you
thing
think?
now.
How dare you invoke Vanilla Ice in this room right now?
I did it for me.
Second
Son of a
time. I
Thank
think
you. Eventually, we're going to do that one, right?
We're gonna do Cool as Ice and not have you on, and then I'm gonna create a super villain on that day and an enemy.
And it's gonna be both of them are gonna be you. So we're gonna record you twice, and you're gonna be like
I
talking
know
to
where
yourself.
you are at least once a month, sir.
That's true. You could cut me in the throat. No, obviously you would be on for that episode.
Home
Yeah.
Alone or what?
Yeah,
Pardon?
that was. I don't have
Said
anything
Home
else.
Alone or what?
I think what is the next segment? I think it is the Home Alone of it all.
Well, what do you think the Home Alone of it all?
the Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone of
I
it
really
all
gotta
happens?
know.
When is the Home Alone of
What
it all?
is the Home Alone of it all? Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
Can I just say before we move on?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and watch the other episodes that you were on, B. Like I have to.
There's only one. It's Seed of
There's
Chucky,
only one.
Oh my god.
and it's a fantastic episode.
It
Yes.
is good, yeah.
Yeah,
Why to see how many times I reference Vanilla Ice?
it happened.
You know what? I'd
Or
like to make
Dolph
up a
Lundgren.
drinking game. No, because it's been really, really fun to be on the show with you.
Aw, same with
Yeah,
you
I think-
too.
I think the 4-person format where everybody knows how to podcast actually it's gonna. I'm excited for this month for a multitude of reasons, but there might be a two guest
Can
once
you
in a
list
while.
them? Just kidding. Let's move on.
The Home Alone of it all.
Susan, Jennifer, Cleo, Banana? Nope.
All right.
Fail.
So as we do go through the episodes, we usually make sure that one of us can go first. And the
I
first
thought you wanted me to name every woman.
No.
Whitney.
Noel, why don't you tell us about your Home Alone of it all?
I still don't understand what this
Okay. Let me explain this one more time for everybody at home. The Home Alone of it all is the moment in the movie Home Alone where Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprints and it becomes his twisted play game. But that's what everybody's there to see. They want to see him booby trap the home. So in every film, we've sort of posited that every film has this sort of idea that you came to the movie to see this thing. And I'll make it real easy for you. This is what I usually do nowadays. I just go first, even though the guest goes first. I go first. And for me, when enter Ty, that's my Home Alone of it all.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically my Home Alone of it all. So, Steve, who did you ask to go first?
I mean you, but you already went first. So
I think the reason I don't understand the Home Alone of it all is because I don't remember when he puts down the blueprints, and I definitely wasn't there to see that.
Well, what is the best part of the movie?
I wanted Carol of the Bells, and I wanted to anyway. The Home Alone of it all. Yeah, I don't know because I don't understand this segment. Next.
All right, B, how about you?
I'm going to say the Home Alone of it all is the montage where they give Ty the makeover. I feel like that is what sets the tone for the movie.
So is it like the inciting incident?
Sort of.
It doesn't matter. It can be anything. It can be anything.
But the idea
the movie made sense to you, where it made you feel like you're watching the movie.
Like the movie was a movie? Okay, then I'll have to agree with B. It is the project. Like when Cher goes, ooh, project, when she sees Ty.
Right. And I will say that it's the moment where Ty tells Cher, you don't even know how to drive a car. And I was like, oh, my heart. And you're dumb. And I was like, oh my God, no, she's not that dumb.
This is a good point that Tim just made.
What?
I interpret it as a moment that encapsulates its premise.
Oh, it's premise.
Dang. Those are a lot of big words there.
Because sometimes it's like just the third act of the movie, but sometimes it's like,
well, then if
like
that's the
trailer
case,
moment,
it's her figuring out that she can manipulate all of her teachers. Well, when the montage where she's walking in the hall being like, this guy's gay, this guy's fat, this guy's like, that's the moment.
I know what my Home Alone of it all is. It's when the fountain goes behind her and she goes, I love Josh, because like I've been waiting.
That's what I just said. That was what mine just was.
No, you said which is
I'm pretty sure that's what I just said. I don't know.
Is that what you just said?
I think I did.
Sorry.
I heard you calling people fat.
Well, that was this one just now. But I mean, I'm talking about the one before that when I got criticized for not saying something better by all of you. So
we appreciate you. You're very talented. You're really talented.
Me?
Yeah. Did you watch the opening?
All right, let's move on.
Wait, why are we appreciating the Met on this show?
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah. You guys should really tell us how it is.
I started by appreciating B, so like
that's true. You did. Jason, where are we going next?
I appreciate all of you.
MPAA. Well, we appreciate you as well. This has been a very good episode.
That seems.
Are you ready to play the hit game show?
This is the old one. Didn't I put a new one in?
Well, if you want to just use the new one, that's fine. Or the old one, it's fine.
Fuck, I didn't put the old one in. I'm sorry.
It's time to play Guess the MPAA.
I thought you were going to do it.
Hello, my name is Dawley, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing game show that we play each and every week. It's called the MPAA rating game. The rules are simple. There's a number that's associated with every movie. It's a 5-digit number, and it indicates that a movie has been rated by the MPAA. That's irrelevant. All you have to do, game players, is guess a number between 0 and 999. And for some arbitrary reason, I'm going to give you the first two numbers of this 5-digit number. And this week, the first two numbers are 3-3. I don't know. So here's what I'm going to do. Since we have 3 contestants this week, I'm going to go from on my screen left to right.
I have to still play? There's 2 people
Yeah,
here.
you still have to play. Yeah,
Oh,
you didn't
God.
look up the
All right.
MPAA. So you're each going to get 2 guesses. I'm going to run through you guys twice. And at the end we're going to hear a buzzer sound because you're going to get it wrong inevitably. But Noel, the first 2 numbers this week are 3-3. What are the next 3 numbers?
286.
B, it's higher.
842.
Steve, it's lower.
6. 6. 6.
No, it's lower.
Oh, damn.
459.
B, it's slightly higher.
460.
Steve, it's slightly higher.
4 7 4.
Where did I put that? Nope.
Oh, you can't stop hitting it. You just.
There it is.
Oh my god, it's such a terrible noise. I hate that noise. Jason,
No,
stop.
I did that on purpose. The MPAA certificate rating number this week was 33483. You guys came within an angel's hair of it. However, it's incorrect. Steve, why don't you tell them what they've won?
Well, both of you have won the ability to continue this podcast where we talk about our final thoughts. And
No,
do you,
hold on, don't
either of
do
you
it.
have final thoughts? What?
The MPAA, everyone. The MPAA. Wow.
Now let's talk about our final thoughts.
Wait, are you not going to hit it? You had the power to hit it.
It's time for our final thoughts.
That's right. Yeah, we've come very close to the end of the show. It's time for our final thoughts. Basically, it's right in the name. If you want to give this movie a rating, whether it be out of 5 or out of 10 or a completely nonsensical joke rating, that's fine. And we're gonna ask our guests this week to please verify if this film was indeed a feminist masterpiece. So let's just like
It's a lot of pressure.
Also, I refuse to answer.
Yeah, I also refuse to answer. Noel, we're gonna let B go first, just like at the beginning.
I give it 5 enthusiastic thumbs up. Is it a feminist masterpiece? I think that might be a little bit of a stretch. Like maybe just a little bit. Is it a really fun woman-centric film that is clearly written by the female gaze? Absolutely. Does it hold up? Absolutely. Is it by far fairly unproblematic for a teen movie that came out in the 90s? Heck yeah, it is. Feminist masterpiece might be a teensy bit of a stretch, but it's wonderful, it's enjoyable, and it holds up. Still love it.
Fantastic. All right, Noel. Same as before. All the things I said. Was Tattoo a feminist masterpiece? No, probably not. One of them hates gay people.
Masterpiece.
Sorry.
No, we got queer baited. Screw that band.
So hard.
No queer baiting in this movie, which is unusual. I do like that Ty didn't have any straight friends in her previous school.
I wanted to bring that up, yeah.
Okay, I give this movie 4.95 gay friends out of 5. I am only taking away a little bit because there is like a like one R word and a couple things that like I did go, ooh. But 0.5 out of all of that, this movie holds up. It's a movie at a time when you weren't necessarily like at a formative time in my life where there wasn't a lot of like good things like this, like made by women for women in this media, like in this format. It celebrates female friendships. It passes the Bechdel test heartily, which we know is a flawed metric, but it's a really lovable like main character. It doesn't do any of the tropes, even the slightly all about Eve stuff where Ty is overtaking her. Like, it's not built like that. They become friends at the end anyway. They apologize. It's just like, that's just a natural kind of like teens and their interdrama. And even then it's not even that bad. This movie is so easy to watch. It's so quotable. It's so funny. It's so smart. I wish that we had more of these movies. I would just Thanos snap out of existence so many of the other like teen movies of this era, like everything that John Hughes did, garbage. Like Revenge of the Nerds, nonsense. Like nothing, none of that holds up the way that this movie does, and none of that touches me the way that Elton does. No. But,
how consensually is that?
Yeah.
None at all.
He just kept kissing me over and over again.
And I think R.I.P. Brittany Murphy, who's incredible in this movie. This movie made a lot of stars as well. Like, this is like a really amazing cast, and it's kind of cool to see all of these young kids do such an amazing job of this. Like, teenage characters can sometimes be awful, but what a talented group of people. This is like lightning in a bottle, honestly. Everything went right for this movie.
I thought I heard Steve click. Well, thank you, Noel. That was insightful as well. Yeah, what a fantastic film. Steve, why don't you hit us with your final thoughts for the film Clueless, starring John Clueless?
Well,
sorry, Joan Clueless.
Joan Clueless? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, this movie could use a little more Joan Cusack. That's the only.
That's true. And Joan Rivers and Joan. I don't know. Any you guys got some Jones that you can throw at me here?
Sorry, I am just getting this message. I am getting this message in. Joan Osborne. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
I am getting this message in.
So many times.
Well, I do want to get my thing out, but
I know. There's one thing from the person who picked this film. My wife Madison just texted me and said that she heard me say a word that she knows is distinctly unparliamentary, and she wishes that I withdraw it. The word is FART.
Fart? Sorry. I didn't mean to say it. I knew that it was wrong to say. But I agree. We should get the farts out of this, and we should talk about...
That's a reference to that literal parliament moment. From
all right, well, can I say what I feel about this movie?
Sorry, Steve. Sorry.
I think that this movie is pretty great. I don't know if I am the appropriate person to talk about it, but I do think that the journey of like a a vapid sort of like self-absorbed teenager to the end of the movie, her being a self-aware young human being is like, you know, that's important, and we should have way more movies like that. But a lot of the course of this movie is just sort of like wavery teenagery stuff. I would say that, like, when it comes down to it, like, comedy has like a very rigid and stringent criteria for being able to exist beyond the year that it's created. And I think that this movie hits every single point that you can possible in a criteria that I would put down to have to hit to be able to move beyond that. And I said it earlier in the show where it's like, you know, there are movies that existed in this year or years beyond it that you kind of like you feel sick to your stomach when you watch them now. This one, not so much at all. I like that this movie feels like a let you be you kind of story. She is able to get through the entire movie while maintaining herself. She doesn't get broken down or anything. I think this movie kind of rules. Like, I don't know how I could present it any other way. I've said multiple times that I would show this to somebody who was young and say, like, look at this is good. And I would hope that they would like it. And if they didn't, then I would love for them to tell me why it's not good, because I think it's a good movie. And if I had to give it a rating, I would say if you said it was bad, I would make myself wear a hat that looked like a wedding cake for probably like a week. I'd have to walk around with that on my head.
More like Jonah Fart, am I right? It's too much power. It's too much power for one person to have.
Don't worry, Jason. We're all just holding in our laughs at that one.
I know. I can tell by your smug looks. Great film and crazy flashback. I think Tina Fey used this as the blueprint for an updated 2000s version in Mean Girls. The similarities are many. I had a good time watching it after all this time. It holds up. Killer soundtrack. The plot plays like a lot of comedies from the era where things just sort of happen one after another. But the difference is it has a lot of heart. There isn't a lot of wasted motion either. I give this a 3.9 out of 5. I also give this a Paul Rudd never ages.
I think you're going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Crunch. And I think that we did all the things, friends. Let's see here. How are we gonna? So it's unique because I don't have to run down all of the shows that are on the United Federation of Podcasts anymore. Oh, I'm in jail. I've been put into jail. By Luna Divonair.
Cass, she's the jailer.
I totally forget who it is.
That's the voice of the month.
I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who puts people in jail by saying jail. I don't know anybody like that. Stay tuned for Cass coming up in a couple weeks. That said, I think it's time to just sort of talk about our plugs. Noel, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
I would like to plug Jane Austen. If you haven't read Emma, or
who wouldn't like to plug Jane Austen? Am I right?
Oh boy. Yeah. If you like, oh boy,
he would have done that to me so fucking hard, dude.
I would have. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
I would like to plug. So I have a podcast outside of this. It's called Stick Taps and Stitches. It is a hockey podcast. Right now, we're nearing the very end. We're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, yeah, it's the big thing that we've all been waiting for. But if you like hearing me go on about movies and want to hear two guys who normally talk about hockey also go on about movies, in the summer we do hockey adjacent movies because there's nothing to talk about. So we'll probably be doing some Mighty Ducks, some Sudden Death. But yeah, Stick Taps and Stitches.
I'll come
You
on
like
for a
hockey?
Mighty Duck if you
Come
don't
on
mind.
I'll also do that.
I did.
Come on for a Mighty Duck if you don't mind.
I did D2. So we still have 2 more Ds.
Well, I'll do one of those Ds. Just tell me which one you want.
Heyo.
Biting my tongue.
I'm biting completely off in this raid.
You're also like, I also want to do a D. Come on, let me do a D. D4, do 5, D5.
We did Goon as well, and Most Valuable Primate.
There's not a lot
How
of
long did you?
movies, I guess.
How long did you do Goon for? Like 9 hours?
I was like, this movie sucks, and it aged poorly.
Yeah, that was a gooning reference.
B, tell us what you got to plug.
So in the 90s, before Suge Knight dangled him out the window, Vanilla Ice made this movie called Cool as Ice. It's amazing. Y'all should watch.
We never do that to our guests, but
I don't want to.
I can see the cane just off screen, ready to just. You can follow me on all platforms. I am at OverlairB. I have a lot of cosplay content, and I'm about to go to camera for a new B movie called Grind. I'm in a movie within a movie called, I think it's Lesbian Vampire Strippers from Mars.
Now you have my attention.
I can't imagine what it's about, but I mean,
sex crazed lesbian vampire strippers from Mars is what the movie within a movie is.
Is this an adaptation of a Jane Austen novel?
It's actually Oscar Wilde.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
that
we
was
all
the
know
other
he
thing
was wild as fuck.
that Murray quoted. Oscar Wilde was one of the other, along with Barbara Streisand. Sorry, okay.
He did say he's got a basement full of portraits of himself. Yeah.
I mean, don't we all? So you can find me at conventions. You can find me at OverlairB, all over the place. If you want to read my writing, I was published in a book called The Secret Loves of Geek Girls with Margaret Atwood and a number of Sam Maggs and a number of other authors, put out by Dark Horse Comics. And then make sure your safe search is on when you Google me.
Yeah. Last time you were on, I didn't do that. It was like, what the heck is going on over here?
Yeah. The good thing about that is that Steve now gets to plug what he's up to.
I'm a voice actor. Everyone search my name. No, I have a couple of
safe search on, friends.
No, I don't have any wiener things going on, but like, you know, Darth Theorist is the big one. It's growing, so like I would appreciate everyone to go check it out. It's pretty cool. We're at almost like 2 million. No, sorry, not 2 million. 250,000 clicks, and it's making me feel good. Like, you know, every day I wake up and I'm like, 2 million people have listened to my voice, but then I realize it's 250,000. It still feels good.
Fantastic, thank you. I would like to promote this podcast. Hey, did you see this one? Please like, follow, subscribe wherever you can. We are on all social media at Hey, did you see this one? Pretty much around the interglobe. You can see me each and every month at Super Kicked Rock and Wrestling show at the Great Hall. I'm an announcer there. I'm very good at it. It's like the one thing I'm good at besides just podcasting. I think is probably my other. Sorry. I went down a hole there. I would like to also promote everything that these lovely people have plugged tonight. Just, the United Federation of Podcasts, all those shows that you're going to see at the end of the show. I love doing this, and I really think it's great. Tonight we broke a record. We had 15 concurrent viewers at one point, which is a new record, which is great. And we actually had 5 guests, if you include a cat, which is a new record for the show.
Well, 6 if you count a dog.
There was a dog, yeah.
Oh, and there was a dog. So we had 6 guests on tonight, and we were live on more streaming services than I knew existed. So the show is on an upward climb, and I'm really excited for the rest of this month. And I think with that, do you think that Noel and B could do it at the same time and ask a very you don't want to put
Sorry,
this?
I didn't say whether this movie was a feminist masterpiece or not.
That's true.
I completely forgot that part of the ask.
Well, no.
And you will never know.
Oh, God.
It is.
B, how about you?
No.
We already discussed it, guys.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it, yeah.
Do I think it's wonderful? Yes. Do I think it's slightly hyperbolic to call it a feminist masterpiece? Also, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes.
But could one of you guys decide which one of you needs to ask the question that we need to ask every week?
And if you count down from
paper,
3 and do
scissors.
it at the same time, I'm fine with it.
Wait.
3.
But
Hold on.
2, 3.
You got rock, I had scissors.
Yeah, so you have to do it.
No,
Oh.
you win. That means you get to decide. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do it.
I could get Lucy to do it, the cat.
And you're just like, do it, Noel. Come on, we gotta get out of here.
Oh shit, it's me.
Yes.
Hey, did you see this one?
Of course, B, that means you have to be the person that says the world's funniest thing during the thanks for watching frame.
Which is what?
I don't know, man.
The world's funniest thing?
Yeah, you
That's
gotta,
a lot
you gotta
of
make
pressure.
sure you make it funny as well. Or if it's not the world's funniest thing, then we gotta get the heck out of here, all of us, because they're gonna burn this place to the ground.
I this is where we leave. I'm just recycled memes. I'm just made out of silicone and recycled memes.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.